Welcome to the Rewriting Naruto series. This is a series of videos where I rewrite Naruto, making changes to improve the story from a personal taste. This video is going to cover the Jiraiya the Gallant Arc with the Jiraiya vs Pain fight, as well as the fated battle between brothers arc with the Itachi vs Sasuke fight. It's a compilation of parts 61 through 64, but if you've watched those parts before, this video has changes and tweaks to the old videos that I made to improve them, so stay tuned for those, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring notifications. Please like the video, it's important for you to do so. Support the Rewriting Naruto series, and let's get going. The Leaf Village Battalion rose before dawn. They were ready to resume their mission after they rested and recovered for a day. They were 3 members down. Anko was KIA, while Shikamaru and Tenten returned to the Leaf Village. Naruto clenched his fists, looking at the horizon. We're going to where that explosion happened, right, Kakashi-sensei? Yes, we're going to stick together from now on, as I said yesterday. Our goal is to find Sasuke or Itachi, but if we can do it fast enough, we'll certainly be able to track their chakra signatures once they start fighting. If that happens, we will intercept their fights. We'll count on them both being worn out from fighting against each other, giving us the best chance to get them both. The battalion members all agreed with a unison, yes sir. Ino, use your chakra cloaking jutsu to disguise our presence. So many ninjas moving together are easy to detect. But if I move, I won't be able to erase this completely. I am aware. I just need you to scramble our group chakra signature so the enemy doesn't know how many of us there actually are. And they won't be able to tell who we are either. Yes, sir. Neji, Kiba, Kamaru, and myself will be the ones doing the tracking. The rest of you remain alert and ready to fight at a moment's notice. Let's go. The squadron moved, hopping from tree to tree. Neji, with his bruised and scarred face, activated his Byakugan, and Kiba and Kamaru started to track via scent. Kakashi-senpai, Yamato said with a low voice approaching Kakashi, is it wise to leave Anko's body behind? She's a leaf ninja. Gravediggers will certainly find her resting place and sell her body in the dark market. Don't worry about that. The funeral was to keep the morale high. They're all still so young after all. Kakashi looked at the squadron following them. I told Shikamaru to keep quiet, but I commanded him to inform Lady Tsunade about what happened to Anko and send an ambush cell to retrieve her body. He understood his assignment, but better not tell the others while they are on such a difficult mission. It could affect their performance. Yes, of course. Sasuke woke up from his sleep. Jugo and Suigetsu were in the same room, looking at him. Finally, you're awake, princess, Suigetsu said with a smirk. Sasuke took a moment to speak, for he remembered Suigetsu's story. He felt like he understood that guy much better now. We should get going. Where's Karin? Well, she went to the city, grabbed some supplies. By the way, can you summon my sword back? I, dropped it, Suigetsu said, eyeing Jugo. You dropped it. Is that your best excuse? It's whatever. Can you just do it, please? You literally made a contract with it. Sure. Sasuke stood up, opened the scroll, and weaved hand signs. The executioner's blade appeared on the ground from a puff of white smoke. The sword was shattered. What happened to it? Jugo and Suigetsu looked at each other with embarrassed faces. Nothing, they said together. You know, Suigetsu, you should do this with your sword. Seal it away in a scroll. I don't really have the expertise to do something like that, I'm afraid. Sealing jutsus were never my strong suit. Well, maybe I'll teach you eventually. Oh, I mean, sure. I just gotta go repair my sword, alright? I'll be right back. Don't leave me behind if Karin comes back before me, alright? Huh? But Suigetsu, the sword's completely shattered. How are you gonna do that? Can you fix it so quick? Jugo asked. I just need some blood. The executioner's blade can use the iron in the blood of its victims to repair itself. So you're gonna kill someone? I mean, technically, I'm not gonna kill a person. I'll just find a deer or something. Sasuke nodded. Very well then. Try to be quick. We'll wait for you and Karin, but then we have to go. Next, we get the scene where the Leaf team arrives at the crater created by Data C0. There are some panels in that scene that deliver information that in the original characters didn't know, but in the rewrite they would already know, so they would just be cut out. However, the scene unfolds mostly the same, with Kiba managing to get a trace scent of Sasuke, assuring Naruto and the others that the blast didn't kill him, and the scene ends with them going after that scent trail. Now we get the scene when Karin senses the Leaf team heading their way. However, what she actually says in that scene is very different, because in the original she's just weird. First, she won't wish it will get dark soon because it's in the morning. Second, she'll be thinking the following. That's Suigetsu. I don't get it. Why does he think of me like that? Well, it doesn't matter. After this is all said and done, I'll make sure to beat that Sakura girl. Suigetsu can stay with her instead. Yeah, I think that's fair. He risked his life to save her. That has to count for something. and that way he doesn't have to be alone and I get to be with Sasuke. That's just perfect. You can see a clear change to Karin's demeanor towards Suigetsu here, and the same could be said about Sasuke in the previous scene as well. After that thought is when she senses the Leaf Team approaching. The only difference is that she acknowledges in her thoughts that she can't tell how many are coming due to Ino's jutsu, and she doesn't know who they are either. Suigetsu arrives back at the room wielding an intact executioner's blade with a smile on his face. Oh yeah, as good as new. I was feeling naked without this thing. He held the massive sword in front of him with pride. That's when Karin stomps the door and crushes Suigetsu with it, ruining his triumphant moment. She warns her team that there's somebody coming, and Sasuke asks, Akatsuki or Leaf? I don't know. Their chakra source is scrambled. Events unfold the same way until it's time for this scene where Sasuke puts on his cloak. Because in the rewrite, before doing so, he'll look up at the sky and close his eyes, remaining like that for a long moment. Sasuke breathes in deeply, almost meditating, thinking about something. Sasuke! Hey! Sasuke! Are we in a hurry? Suigetsu said, concerned. Sasuke ignored him and threw his mind back to what an old lady once told him. Wear it to remember what you're fighting for. Vengeance. Sasuke murmured and weaved one-handed signs. A red cloak appeared in his hand from white smoke, and with a single elegant swoosh, he put it on himself. The crimson velvet flapped in the wind just like it did all those years ago in the Land of Crystals. The first mission Sasuke was assigned as a team leader. Huh? A new fashion choice? Now? Suigetsu said mockingly as Karin looked at him with an angry expression. She had quite enjoyed Sasuke's new appearance, even though she was trying her best to hide it. I think it looks just fine. Just leave him be. Oh, I bet you do, Karin. Shut up! Really though, why the new cloak? Do you want to intimidate Itachi? Something like that. Suigetsu shrugged with his shoulders. The rest of the scene unfolds the same way, with Karin using Sasuke's old clothes with the aid of Jugo's birds to scatter Sasuke's scent. But I'll also need your clothes too, Karin told Jugo and Suigetsu. Oh, I knew you couldn't resist me, Karin, Suigetsu smirked. Oh, shut up! That dog user knows all our scents. Only scattering Sasuke is not gonna do the job. So if it's the Leaf Village coming after us, it's over. Just give me your cloaks. That'll work just fine. Karin then does the same thing with her black cloaks, the ones they have been wearing since they entered the Blazing Horn region. Karin, tell me one thing. Can you sense a ninja with a particularly large chakra pool among the ones chasing us? I can't sense any specifics. They're scrambling the signal. It could be one ninja, it could be 20. I just couldn't tell. Do you think it's actually Itachi coming after us, Sasuke? I doubt that. He's not the type of person to come chasing. And if he does, I figure we wouldn't even notice him at all. Karin, shouldn't someone with a much larger chakra signature overwhelm a cloaking jutsu like that? I mean, it depends. I don't know what jutsu they're using. But if they scramble out of a formation, the jutsu would lose its effectiveness, wouldn't it? Yes, if they leave the range of the jutsu, which shouldn't be too large, then I would be able to pick up individual chakra signatures. I see. Keep tracking them, and make sure to identify any individual chakra signatures if they break off from the group. Yes, I'll do that. Next, we get the scene where the Leaf Village realizes the smell they're tracking is being scattered, and Naruto uses a platoon of shadow clones to try and go after those loose tracks. Neji will also increase the tracking range of his Byakugan, forcing his eyes to limits. Strangely though, even though Naruto uses the shadow clone jutsu to scatter himself, Karin will not notice a thing changing in her sensing. After that, Naruto encounters Itachi by himself, and this scene plays out exactly the same, except that Naruto says he can be any number from 1 to 5,000, not 1,000. After all, he used 5,000 shadow clones in a previous arc. And by the way, this is gonna remain the same in the rewrite, but don't forget that the reveal of what Itachi actually does to Naruto only happens way later. Next, we get the scene when Jiraiya and Tsunade talk in a bar, and Jiraiya says he's going to the Rain Village. It remains unchanged. Naruto lands on the ground, weirded by what just happened in Itachi's genjutsu. That scene is going to remain the same, and you wouldn't know what happened there yet. Next, we get the scene when Sasuke encounters that fake Itachi in a cave and pierces him with a Chidori spear. That remains the same. Now we get the Jiraiya and Tsunade bench scene. The first change in this scene is that Jiraiya won't initially forget Kushina's name, like, what the hell, Jiraiya? After that, when Tsunade asks him to come back alive, Jiraiya will have one additional line. Oh, come on, Tsunade. If 2 Chidoris to the chest didn't kill me, a little visit to a foreign village ain't gonna do it either. But really, trust me, I have have my reasons for going alone. As he says that, he'll remember what happened in that village where he fought Sasuke and the information he received, as well as the reports on that paper user that fought against Naruto and the others in the Land of Whirlpools. The rest of the scene remains the same, and Jiraiya leaves to the Rain Village. Itachi's fading clone tells Sasuke to meet him in the Uchiha hideout, and Jiraiya infiltrates the Rain Village like in the original. Team Heavy arrives telling Sasuke they felt another chakra with Sasuke and got worried, and Sasuke orders them to leave the cave immediately and follow him just like in the original, now knowing where he needs to go to fight Itachi, just like in the original. For Jiraiya's infiltration scene, the anime does some very good things. There are additional scenes that are not in the manga, where Jiraiya interrogates people, that add a lot to the atmosphere and also to the story itself. So we are leaving those scenes in, including the scenes where Jiraiya is questioning more people and also going out with a lady of the night. We are also going to keep the additional flashback scenes that are only in the anime, the paths of pain that Jiraiya encountered in the past. Next we get Jiraiya's interrogation scene where he tickles Rain Ninja, and Pain chooses a new body as Conan prepares herself to fight. Jiraiya has a conversation with the Key Toad before he heads to fight against Pain, and the first change in that conversation is that Minato did not seal half of the 9 tails in Naruto. No, Minato sealed the entire tail beast. This is the first time this thing about Minato splitting the 9 tails is ever mentioned, so it's changing here because that's going to be different for the rewrites. The second change for the scene is that instead of saying the 9 tails was thought to be a natural disaster, Jiraiya will say it was a natural occurrence because Kushina's seal was weakened due to childbirth. And he will acknowledge that the 9 tails attacking that night was told to the villagers to be a natural disaster so people wouldn't blame Naruto too much, which didn't work. But obviously Jiraiya would know the actual reason. Well, maybe not the actual reason, but he would know Kushina's seal would be weakened because of Naruto's birth. Still, Jiraiya will have the same hypothesis that Madara Uchiha could have actually summoned it. That's not gonna change, and the rest of the scene is also going to remain the same. We also get the same scene with Madara here, but at the end, he teleports himself away from the Valley of the End. The rest remains the same. This scene here where Sasuke pierces a Naruto shadow clone with his Chidori won't happen. Team Heavy will never see a Naruto clone, and Karin will sense no clones either. And that clone that was heading towards Team Heavy, before he could even see and intercept Team Heavy, will be stopped as Madara appears in front of Naruto. And that will be an additional scene. "In Akatsuki!" Naruto said, pulling out a kunai and dashing at him. Naruto slashed. The masked man ducked down, avoiding the attack with a giggling yelp, and he backhanded Naruto across the face, popping the shadow clone. After the clone disappeared, Madara's demeanor changed completely. "Naruto Uzumaki, such an annoying fellow," he said as Zetsu emerged from the ground next to him. "Is that really necessary? Making sure Sasuke won't sense any of those clones? That barrier takes up a lot of chakra. Their sensory type. I believe she has a powerful Kage Genkai and sensorial skills," White Zetsu said. "Yes, keep the barrier up to prevent the girl on Sasuke's team from sensing Naruto's clones. He must not be seen." "Everything is coming together nicely," Black Zetsu said in an ominous tone. "Kakashi-sensei, that masked guy you fought against, he destroyed one of my clones!" Kakashi narrowed his eyes as a Leaf Village battalion hopped on the tree branches. "I thought he wouldn't just leave, but that makes things more complicated. Listen everyone, if we encounter another Akatsuki along the way, we must eliminate them as quickly as possible and continue our search," Kakashi said. Before the others could even acknowledge his order, Neji yelled, "I found them! They're at the edge of my sight range! All 4 of them! Sasuke's team! Good job! Which way, Neji?" Neji changed his jumping vector, and the entire squadron followed him. "That's the way that Akatsuki guy destroyed my clone, Kakashi-sensei." "Then be ready to encounter an Akatsuki." Naruto clenched his fists, releasing his other shadow clones to conserve as much chakra as possible. "I'm not letting you get away this time, Sasuke," he thought. And now we get the Jiraiya vs. Pain fight. The initial stages of the fight, with Jiraiya fighting Conan, Pain's explanation about his plan to share Pain around the world with the Tail Beast super weapons, and the flashbacks of Jiraiya teaching Nagato, Conan, and Yahiko will remain the same. However, the Jiraiya vs. Pain fight is actually better in the anime. In the manga, we actually don't see how Jiraiya takes care of the multi-headed hound and the bird summon, for example. That's a very interesting sequence of the fight that showcases the rain village all around them, and it makes the fight even more dangerous for Jiraiya. So I'm keeping those anime-only parts in the rewrite. The fight continues the same. Jiraiya summons Fukasaku and Shima, uses Sage Mode, that all stays the same, and it finally pays off the setups that we were establishing in the rewrite a few times beforehand with this jutsu that Jiraiya is always trying to use in very difficult situations, but he never really manages to. This is the jutsu. The next change in the fight is small but important. Instead of blocking Jiraiya's punch within the smoke cloud, the human path will duck and dodge it instead. It makes no sense for that path of pain to casually stop a Sage Mode Jiraiya punch. And I'm not even talking about the speed and reaction time. I'm talking about the strength required to block that punch so casually. Like, Jiraiya just landed a kick on the human path a few panels before, and he tossed the human path away, even blinding him. And now he can block a punch without any effort? That's just weird. I'm changing that. He's gonna duck the punch. It just makes so much more sense. The exchange with the three paths of pain is pretty much the same, and it ends up with Jiraiya fleeing. He has the same discussion about Pain's eye connection with the old toads, and that remains the same with one additional dialogue exchange. Even if the eyes are connected, how could he see through the smoke to dodge my punch? Jiraiya asked. It makes sense for the Rinnegan to see through regular smoke bombs. I hate to say it, but you need to summon Gamalima, Fukasaku said. Absolutely not! That scoundrel will be a liability! Shima protested. I hate to say it, but Lady Shima's right, Lord Fukasaku. Knowing him, he'll be totally intoxicated by this point. That damn fool! Day drinking as always, never changes, even when we need him. From there, the fight continues the same way. They use the frog song, and Jiraiya eventually defeats the three paths, until the Asura path sneaks behind Jiraiya and says, You taught me not to let my guard down, Jiraiya-sensei. The wall explodes, and Jiraiya gets flunked into the water outside. He slides on the surface, but importantly, he does not lose an arm here. He managed to conceal his presence until the last second, even though it had Sage Mode activated. Jiraiya said in frustration and surprise. There was a large bruise on his left arm, which he used to block the surprise attack. The in attendance 6 paths of pain scene unfolds the same way, except Jiraiya has both his arms, and another subtle difference is that the human path's eyes will be back. That was probably an oversight by Kishimoto, because it would make no sense for the human path to be revived and not healed in the eyes. Even his eyes are back. Jiraiya thinks, realizing the kick that blinded the human path earlier was somehow countered too. They exchange the same dialogue about Yahiko and their past, and the scene ends with all 6 paths rushing Jiraiya and saying, We are pain, we are God, just like in the original. We get the same scene of Tsunade staring into the rain and talking to Shizune about Jiraiya and the bet she made. Next, we get the scene of Kisame intercepting Team Hebi. The scene unfolds the same way up until when Sasuke leaves his group behind. Hoshigaki Kisame and the Samehada, huh? Kisame looked at him puzzled, but then he had a moment of realization and opened a wide grin. Little Suigetsu! I would have never expected to see you here. I heard you had died. My death was greatly exaggerated. I can see that. You even got yourself the Executioner's Blade. Yeah, lucky me, right? The Samehada ain't too bad either. Yes, it's not. I apologize for leaving in a hurry. I could never say goodbye. It's alright. I don't blame you for wanting to leave the village. You know, just sitting around waiting for Sasuke is boring. Why don't we go ahead and have a friendly sparring session? Suigetsu said, drawing his Executioner's Blade. That takes me back, Kisame said, drawing Samehada. Suigetsu, is that really a good idea? Of course. Mr. Kisame and I go way back. Besides, look at the sword he's carrying. You idiot. This better not get out of hand. What if we have to go and help Sasuke? Karin thought, as Suigetsu and Kisame dashed at each other. We get the scene of Itachi in the throne saying, Those Sharingan, how much can you actually see? Just like in the original. Next, we get the scene where Madara intercepts the Leaf Village battalion. Oh,
Whoa! I can't believe I bumped into the Leaf Village folk here, and it's a 10 against 1. Ooh la la! That's him! That's the guy! Naruto pointed at him. Kakashi narrowed his exposed eye. He's either insane to face all of us at the same time, or he's just that confident in his abilities. And from the fight I had with him, I have a bad feeling about this, he thought. I'm kinda new to the Akatsuki. Nice to meet y'all. Oh, me and Guppy Ninja have already met. It was a fun dance we had the other day. Shut up and drop the act! Kiba yelled in anger as Akamaru barked. This guy's weird, Lee said as Zeno looked at him with a face that said, look who's stalking. Neji, can you see through his mask? Kakashi asked. No, something's blocking my sight. It's probably some type of concealment jutsu in the mask itself. Be careful, everyone. We have to do this together. Oh, no, don't get me wrong. I don't want to fight. Another weirdo. I can't believe they keep on getting between us and Sasuke, Sakura thought in frustration. We then get the same scene of Naruto attacking Madara from behind, and Madara slips through his Rasengan. That doesn't change. After that, we get the scene of Sasuke replying to Itachi after he stepped into the Uchiha hideout face to face with his brother, ready to battle, saying, I see you dead at my feet. That scene does not change. The 6 paths of pain came down upon Jiraiya. The sage braced himself in a taijutsu position. They clashed. Jiraiya veered from side to side, blocking incoming punches and kicks, dozens of times every second. Fukasaku and Shima, who stood on his shoulders, spat thin water and wind bullets, warding off the attackers. The Preta path used its powers to absorb as many projectiles as it could, but as the paths of pain pressed Jiraiya down, he was beginning to be overwhelmed. His sage mode enhanced defenses, even though they were much more powerful, couldn't keep up. Their feet infused with chakra disturbed the surface of the water they stood on as Jiraiya tried to find a small window to counterattack with no success. He was surrounded, and all he could do at that point was survive. Even with Sage Mode enhancing my physical and sensorial capabilities, all I can do is block and dodge. He can see all my attacks from 6 different angles now. I can't land a single hit, Jiraiya thought, feeling his situation becoming grim. He felt a sharp pain on the back of his shoulder, and immediately after that, his chakra became erratic, violent, and out of control. The human path had pierced a sharp metal rod from behind, penetrating Jiraiya's skin. It made him wince and grunt in pain. He twisted around, yanking his shoulder away from the rod, but the Asura path was ready for that. Anticipating Jiraiya's rotating movement, he swung with all his might at Jiraiya's face. The punch impacted with so much force, it released a small shockwave. Jiraiya tasted blood and felt his teeth shattering as he was sent flying away, with his long white hair flapping in the wind as 3 paths ran on the water and followed Jiraiya's trajectory from below. The Deva, human, and Preta paths. Jiraiya boy! Shima screamed. I'm fine, Jiraiya said, weaving hand signs mid-air. Sage Art! Great firebomb! He twisted in the air, looking at the 3 paths below, and spat a great blast of fire. Deva and human dashed to opposite directions as the Preta path stood below. He put his hands up and began to absorb the fire attack. Lord Fukasaku, now! The toad weaved a sign following Jiraiya's cue. Water style! Compressing wave! Water rose as a circle around the Preta path, and like a powerful wave, it rushed inward, straight towards the path. As he was busy absorbing the fire, the water crushed him, mangling his body in a fireless explosion. As soon as that happened, his absorption stopped, and the fireball now exploded with fire. Nice, Lord Fukasaku! 5 more to go! Jiraiya said, spitting a tooth with blood from his mouth. This all happened before Jiraiya even landed from Asura's punch. He adjusted himself to land on his feet as the Deva and human path came rushing at him from opposite directions. But as he was about to hit the water, the animal path, who had stayed behind, weaved hand signs and touched his hand on the water. Summoning Jutsu. The toothy maw of a massive eel appeared on the water right below Jiraiya and rose up to meet him. The maw was so large, it completely engulfed the sage. The slick, long creature depicted the Rinnegan eyes and black rods pierced all over its body. As it was about to close its mouth and shred Jiraiya with its teeth, he weaved hand signs. Sage Art! Lion Mane Slicer! Jiraiya's hair extended into dozens of long, sharp blades blades, piercing the eel's mouth from within, and they spun. Jiraiya shredded the creature from inside, turning it into a disgusting blend of meat and blood. It disappeared into white smoke. But Deva and Human were on Jiraiya, wielding the black rods. There was no time for Jiraiya to catch his breath. Fukasaku and Shima turned backwards on Jiraiya's shoulders to take care of the human path coming from behind as Jiraiya ignited a Rasengan, readying himself to strike Deva. Shima spat a wide gust of wind, forcing the human path to retreat as Jiraiya lunged forward, aiming his Rasengan at Deva. Was that really Yahiko? How could that be? Jiraiya wondered, but he was resolute. He swung the spiral of chakra, but the Deva path dodged it. The Rasengan cruised above him, and the path counterattacked, piercing his Rinnegan rod at Jiraiya. Before it could hit him though, Fukasaku turned back around and held the rod with its elongated tongue, preventing it from piercing Jiraiya's skin again. It's futile, Sensei. You fight against the insurmountable, Deva said. Water style! Expanding wave! Fukasaku weaved signs, and water rose from around Jiraiya this time, rushing outwards. Deva and Human dashed back, regrouping with the other paths of pain to dodge the wave. Jiraiya looked at the 5 remaining paths. This is gonna be really hard, but if we got one, we can get the rest.
Yes, of course we can. You don't have to tell me twice, boy.
But as Shima said that, the Preta path rose out of the water. His body was fixed, completely unscathed.
What? But Lord Fukasaku's water cell took him out. Apparently the enemy has a jutsu capable of reviving the dead.
You don't understand, Sensei. A god cannot be beaten. A god cannot be killed. The only thing you'll find fighting against God is pain.
I don't think we can win like this. If you can bring them back all the time. Jiraiya boy, we have to retreat. I hate to say it, Jiraiya boy, but she's right. Summon Bunta. Use the reverse summon.
Jiraiya scowled in frustration, but he weaved hand signs, taking blood from his shoulder wound. Summoning jutsu! Gamma Bunta appeared with a massive cloud of smoke.
Bunta, take us out of here!
Fukasaku yelled. The massive toad acknowledged the order immediately and swallowed Jiraiya. As he did that, the human and animal paths weaved hand signs simultaneously, sending an all-encompassing wave of chakra that expanded outwards and hit everything around them. No! Gamabunta! Jiraiya said, and the grey toad unsummoned himself. Once more, a great cloud of smoke puffed, and Gamabunta disappeared. Jiraiya, Fukasaku, and Shima, however, landed back on the surface of the water. What? Why didn't we go back with Gamabunta? Jiraiya said, staring at the paths of pain. Did you really think that jutsu would work against me, Sensei? Hanzo always used it to escape me. Of course, I would develop a counter. That's what you taught me, wasn't it?
He prevented us from going back with a reverse summon. What kind of power is that? That's why he calls himself a god. Jiraiya boy, we have to find another way to escape.
I get the feeling that escaping won't be possible. He's not gonna let us. We're gonna have to fight him.
But we don't have a chance against all 6 of them.
There is one chance. I have to surge.
Absolutely not. That's way too dangerous. You can't even use perfect sage mode. If you surge, the nature energy would kill you.
It's either getting killed by that, or by those 6 in front of us.
But he's right, Ma. We already used our trump card, the frog song. We can't use that for another week until our throats recover. Besides, that jutsu doesn't work nearly as well on the outside. And when the target knows where the jutsu is coming from, it's much easier to counter it. If we don't do anything, we're going to die. The only chance we have against all 6 of them is by surging, Jiraiya boy.
Exactly. Sage mode was used by drawing the nature energy around you that's ubiquitous in the world into the shinobi's body. In Jiraiya's case, Fukasaku and Shima drew the energy for him, allowing Jiraiya to keep on fighting and sustaining Sage mode for a long time. However, surging was different. That was when Fukasaku and Shima focused only on drawing as much Sage energy into Jiraiya as they possibly could without stopping, enhancing Jiraiya's Sage capabilities even more than usual. The problem was that the amazing influx of energy could kill Jiraiya, especially because because he wasn't a perfect sage. We have no other choice. Lord Fukasaku, Lady Shima, I'm counting on you.
I swear, if you die on us, boy, I will never forgive you. Quiet, Ma. We have to focus now. I already know.
The two toads closed their eyes and joined their hands in utter concentration. Jiraiya felt an overwhelming amount of power surging within his body. He winced in pain as the nature energy forced itself into every fiber of his being. That was painful, but it was also powerful. His features became even more toad-like, with large flat feet and a flattened white nose and face. Several more warts began to appear around his face as well as his fingers began to connect on his hands. He was turning into a literal toad, but with that came incredible power. Jiraiya knew he didn't have much time while surging, so he had to win the fight fast. The Asura Path aimed its hand at Jiraiya, and fleshy protrusions that looked like cannons appeared out of it. They fired dozens of bright chakra flares that darted towards Jiraiya at great speed. I am changing the Asura Path here. The mechanics of his powers will remain the same, but the aesthetics will be different. He's not going to be futuristic, looking like a robot like he is in the original. That does not fit with the overall aesthetics of the Naruto series. So in the rewrite, instead of the Asura Path shooting literal missiles, he will shoot chakra flares that chase the target and also explode. The blades that come out of his body won't look futuristic. They will be much more jagged, like sharp pieces of metal, and the laser cannon will be a chakra cannon, but it won't look futuristic. It'll just be a flash cannon that comes out of the Asura Path's body and shoots a chakra beam. The chakra flares flew at Jiraiya with great speed, but the sage bent down and dashed with even more speed. The water beneath his feet exploded with the sheer power of his dash. Jiraiya zigzagged in between the flares. They impacted the water, exploding but missing Jiraiya, leaving behind the cascade of blasts. Jiraiya was already at the paths. He aimed a kick at the Preta Path, but he managed to dodge at the last second. Jiraiya's kick passed above his head. The Asura Path created a flash cannon on his arm and discharged a powerful chakra beam straight at Jiraiya, but Jiraiya dodged it and spat a great fireball at the Asura Path. That path created metal protrusions that transformed themselves into a metal shield, but the fireball exploded and shot him away regardless. A great Rinnegan crocodile jumped out of the water sideways towards Jiraiya. The creature's mouth was opened, ready to bite down Jiraiya. As the great maw closed down upon the Sanin, he literally held the mouth open as he was closing down on him without much effort. Jiraiya's enhanced sage ability managed to hold that large beast without an issue. He grabbed the crocodile from within the mouth and swung its body at the incoming human path, who was about to strike Jiraiya with a Rinnegan rod. He hit the human path using the crocodile as a baseball bat and sent him flying. After that, he pulled each side of the crocodile's mouth to opposite directions and ripped the body of the crocodile apart. It puffed away in white smoke. The Deva and Preta Paths rushed Jiraiya with Rinnegan rods, but Jiraiya was faster now. He dodged the incoming attacks and punched the Preta Path on the stomach, exploding it in a cloud of blood, sending it down into the water. He was about to strike the Deva Path, but he felt the energy, the great nature power overtaking his body, and an overwhelming pain took over him. The Deva Path managed to pierce his stomach with his rod, but Jiraiya quickly came back to it and pulled away. The stab wasn't too deep, but Jiraiya was beginning to bleed. Sliding backwards on the water, Jiraiya knew he had neutralized the absorber, so now he weaved hand signs. Ninjutsu could work. He only saw two paths close together though, the animal and the Deva paths. The human and the Asura paths were flung away. The Preta Path was underwater and destroyed, but he didn't see the other one. It went missing. Jiraiya didn't care though. The two in front of him would be good targets. Jiraiya weaved hand signs. His hair flared up and he shot a massive barrage of needles. The animal path summoned a seahorse that emerged from the water and used its body to block the needles, but Jiraiya was counting on that. He knew it was coming. Right after he sent the needles, he was already weaving hand signs for his next jutsu. Sage Art! Pillars of Hell! Jiraiya spat a dozen fire orbs which landed near the two targeted paths. Once they hit the water, they expanded with great violence violence and became gargantuan columns of fire that rose up into the sky, trapping the Deva and human paths in this circle of hell. One of the pillars obliterated the seahorse. Sage Art! Crushing Inferno! Waving hand signs again, the fire columns crashed inwards and exploded on the Deva and animal paths. But before the fire completely overtook them, once again the Preta path rose out of the water, unscathed despite what Jiraiya had just done to it. It began to absorb the fiery blast, negating any damage. What? He already revived so fast? Jiraiya thought in disbelief. The Asura path flew towards Jiraiya with amazing speed, using rocket-like boosters on his feet, created out of chakra-spewing flash cannons. He had a massive jagged blade coming out of his arm, ready to strike Jiraiya. The sage sent his hair mane, wrapping it around the Asura path, and flung him down into the water, exploding the surface. He used his hair to slash and cut at the Asura path, but that one was durable. He managed to shoot his flares from down below the water. They emerged from the water surface with several splashes and targeted Jiraiya, chasing him down, which forced him to disengage as the Asura path used his blade to cut off Jiraiya's hair that was wrapping him. As Jiraiya dashed back, Deva and Human, who had now returned, rushed at Jiraiya with their rods. Jiraiya expanded his hair to attack them, but a wave of shock made him wince in pain, and his movements froze. Once again, the nature energy was becoming too overwhelming. His body was becoming more and more toad-like. He didn't have much time. That instant of hesitation allowed the Deva path an opening to pierce Jiraiya with the rod again, drawing blood from his right leg. The sage skin was tough, however. The rod didn't pierce very much. Jiraiya steeled himself, powering through the pain, and he counterattacked, punching the man who looks like Yahiko. He blocked the punch, but he was still launched away, sliding on the water. A laser beam hit Jiraiya from behind, coming out of the water. The Asura path had positioned himself beneath Jiraiya and attacked him. He did that while Jiraiya was distracted by the Deva path. The laser beam burned his back and imbalanced Jiraiya, who grunted. He blocked an incoming attack from a large Rinnegan longfish that the animal path had just summoned. He used Rasengan to destroy the fish, which puffed away into white smoke. I don't have much time. I need to group them all together and finish them off in a single attack. But before that, I'll have to distract the absorber. Jiraiya thought as smoke came out of his back. More flares emerged from the water, forcing Jiraiya to zigzag and avoid them as they came out of the surface and exploded up in the air. Jiraiya weaved hand signs. Sage Art! Quagmire of the dead! The water beneath Jiraiya's feet began to turn brown and viscous, and the viscosity began to spread rapidly like a disease. If the quagmire reaches me, I will sink, even if I focus chakra on my feet, the Deva path thought. The paths of pain rushed away from the incoming expanding circle of quagmire. It took over the water around Jiraiya, and they all landed in a concrete structure that sat in the middle of the water. The Asura path emerged from the water, avoiding the quagmire as well. All 6 of them were now close together on that platform. You are just delaying the inevitable, Jiraiya-sensei. Accepting pain is a sign of maturity. You run away from it. You fail. You don't know what it means to accept it. Those who never accept pain also never grow, and they'll be destined to fail, living miserable lives. Always looking for the easy way out. Always trying to make themselves comfortable. And if they never know pain or never accept it, they'll forever remain in that sorry state, the Deva path said, as the quagmire overtook the water around the concrete platform completely. That jutsu had a massive range. Jiraiya locked eyes with Deva. His face was practically the one of a toad. I accept you calling me a failure. I even accept you calling me immature. But you should know to give up trying to make me give up. Jiraiya weaved hand signs. Sage Art! Fire Lens Barrage! He spat dozens of large piercing fire missiles at the path standing on the concrete. They couldn't move away or jump because of the quagmire. It had reached all around them. The Preta path stood in front of the other paths and intercepted the fire lances, beginning to absorb them. But Jiraiya weaved hand signs again. Sage Art! Hellish Circle! Jiraiya kept on spitting fire spears, but before they got to the Preta path, they flared out and created a circle of fire around the paths. Summoning Jutsu! The animal path sends a Rinnegan bat towards Jiraiya, but he weaved hand signs in return. Earth Style! style, Mud Golem! A large humanoid form rose from the quagmire in front of Jiraiya and snatched the bat mid-air, ripping it apart. The golem then dashed at the pains. As the circle of fire kept on spinning, the Asura Path pointed its cannon at the golem and blasted it, exploding the thick, large humanoid into 1,000 drops of mud. Is that all you have, Jiraiya-sensei? Absolutely not! Jiraiya screamed from very high above. Deva looked up. I see. He used the cover of the fire circle and also the tall golem itself to jump that high and not be spotted. Because all the paths were together, they didn't have a vantage point where the Rinnegan could spot Jiraiya from another angle. And Jiraiya weaved more hand signs high up in the air. The fire circle had continued to spin, rushed in. The Preta Path had to widen his absorption range, and 6 more great mud golems rose out of the quagmire all around the paths, ready to attack, 1 for each path. The Asura Path began to shoot at them. Flares, dozens of them. He needed to explode all those mud golems before they got to the paths themselves. But that's exactly what Jiraiya wanted. The defensive ones are distracted, and they're all near each other. That's exactly it. My chance is here for my final surging attack. I'll take all 6 of them at once, Jiraiya thought, focusing all the surging sage energy on the palm of his hand. Sage Art! Super Ultra Massive Rasengan! A gargantuan Rasengan, 5 times larger than the one he had previously used and gotten absorbed by the Preta Path, manifested itself on Jiraiya's right hand. It made an epic sound as its light hit the quagmire below. The great chakra sphere spun with uncaring violence, ready to destroy anything in its path, and it was about the size of the concrete platform itself where the 6 paths stood on. There was nowhere to run. The absorber was taken in the fire. The Asura Path was busy with the attacking golems. Any summons the animal path could throw at Jiraiya would be annihilated by the Rasengan anyways. If the paths jumped away from the platform, they would land on the quagmire and be engulfed. There was no escape. Jiraiya swung the great Rasengan, falling towards the paths, ready to strike. As the rotating chakra was mere centimeters away from striking the paths on the concrete platform, the Deva Path looked up at the great Rasengan with an unfazed expression. Shinra Tensei. An invisible wave of magnanimous power expanded outwards from the Deva Path, hitting the Rasengan and destroying its shape. The rotating chakra was launched in all directions, hitting and destroying buildings far away. The only direction the chakra didn't go was towards the paths themselves. After the invisible energy wave unraveled the Rasengan, it hit Jiraiya with as much force. He felt as if a giant invisible man punched him with a fist larger than Jiraiya himself. The Sanin grunted in pain, and he was sent up towards the direction of the expanding wave. Flung like a rag doll, he felt the sage energy overtaking his body. Ma and Pa managed to keep themselves attached to his shoulders, utterly concentrated. They used chakra on their feet to keep themselves planted on Jiraiya, and he kept on rising and rising up in the air. The force that hit him had been enormous. He was sure many of his ribs were shattered, and maybe even some internal organs were ruptured despite the additional protection durability of Sage Mode. Jiraiya puked blood, which trailed after him as he climbed up in the air. To make things even worse, the nature energy was going to overpower and kill him. Before it could do so, Ma and Pa stopped feeding Jiraiya with sage energy. Jiraiya boy! Fukasaku screamed. What was that? Ma screamed. An invisible attack of some sort, Jiraiya said, puking out more blood. He was over 100 meters up in the air. Don't worry, boy! I'll use my wing sail to cushion your fall, Ma said, as Jiraiya began to fall back down in a pretty straight line, straight towards the paths. I don't have much more sage energy that I can use. If you keep on pumping it, I'll die. You two have to go. Save yourselves. Absolutely not! Jiraiya boy, we can still fight him! Jiraiya affirmed his gaze, steeling himself once again. Giving up was not an option. It never was. He weaved hand signs, but as he was about to use the jutsu, an invisible force took over his body and pulled him back down, accelerating his fall exponentially. Banshoten! Jiraiya fell like a meteor, and the Asura Path aimed its cannon, shooting a massive chakra beam that hit Jiraiya, intercepting him mid-air as he was falling. The impact of the chakra beam made something inside of Jiraiya break. He spun in the air with so much speed due to the acceleration of the fall and the hit of the chakra beam that he became disoriented. The sage energy wasn't as powerful now to increase Jiraiya's durability, and the quagmire faded away after Pain's attacks struck Jiraiya. He couldn't keep up such a wide range jutsu without as much energy, especially when he wasn't surging anymore. It just required too much chakra. The combined power of Jiraiya coming down and the laser beam hitting him from the opposite direction made so that Jiraiya was still spinning in the air, but now arcing away from the Pains. The human and Preta paths rushed towards where Jiraiya was arcing. Ma used her wind style to blow air the opposite direction, stabilizing Jiraiya so he stopped spinning, as Fukasaku released a powerful severing water wave from his mouth, but the Preta path once more absorbed it. The human path thrusted a rod at Jiraiya as he was falling. Jiraiya managed to dodge it, but a large Rinnegan dolphin came out of the water and hit Jiraiya with its head, sending him sliding on the surface of the water. The other four paths jumped, ready to attack Jiraiya, who was tossed their direction. He tried to protect himself as best as he could, but he was too hurt and tired, and barely had any sage energy left. As I said, Sensei, it is futile. Rasengan! Jiraiya screamed, igniting a Rasengan at him, but the invisible shockwave hit Jiraiya once more, flinging him away. The Asura Path came from behind, using his rocket-like boosters that increased his speed. He created large blades that came out of his arm and slashed against the incoming Jiraiya. The Sanin turned around in time to protect himself, but all he could do was block with his arm. Jiraiya was once again launched, as his left arm, which he used to block the attack, was bisected. He rolled awkwardly on the water, spraying blood in all directions. Jiraiya, boy! Your arm! I'm fine! Jiraiya said as a string of blood dripped out of his stump into the water. The dolphin jumped out of the water, biting Jiraiya and dragging him under the surface. Jiraiya screamed underwater as bubbles left his mouth, but Ma spat a slicing wind blade that cut the dolphin in half. It puffed away in a cloud of white smoke beneath the water. Above the surface, the six paths stood on the water when a tongue wrapped itself around the leg of the animal path, dragging him under the water. After that, we get the same scene that's actually anime only when Jiraiya, with only one arm, swinging out of Fukasaku's tongue, strikes the animal path with a Rasengan, dropping the animal path into the acid of the toad's stomach. And now this happens in the manga. The animal path managed to get a final attack before he gets completely destroyed by the acid, extending his Rinnegan rod at Jiraiya. That's when Jiraiya sees the scar on the animal path and realizes it's the guy he fought a long time ago. The scene unfolds pretty much the same way, except we get more information on the other paths Jiraiya also encountered before, like we do in the anime with Jiraiya's travels. Jiraiya also tells Fukasaku and Shima he cannot flee because of Pain's jutsu, so he can't reverse summon away, and the toad they are inside right now would get unsummoned before they could get far away enough to flee the Rain village. After all, summons have a time limit, so the only option Jiraiya has is going back towards the surface to confirm his theory. So just like in the original, Jiraiya heads out to confirm Pain's identity after the insight he got because of the scar he saw on the animal path's forehead. And everything else regarding Jiraiya's death unfolds the exact same way. It's a great tragic death, but I wanted to make sure Jiraiya would actually fight against all six paths and not just get immediately destroyed by them. And we can also see a glimpse of the Deva Path's abilities with Shinra Tensei and Bansho Tenin, which is something good to see here. It's a good setup for the incoming invasion of the Leaf Village. We end this episode with Jiraiya sinking into the depths of the ocean, thinking about the name for his sequel, The Tale of Naruto Uzumaki, as Tsunade stares at the water and Naruto re-emerges from the pond Toby had kicked him into, just like in the original. After Jiraiya's plummeted into the ocean, we're gonna get the same scene of Pain acknowledging Jiraiya's strength, and that if Jiraiya knew his secret, he could have been done for. And then Pain will command Zetsu to show himself like in the original, and this is where a few changes are gonna happen. It's not going to be the entire Zetsu body emerging, it's only gonna be white Zetsu, without the black
part. So he'll look like what the white Zetsus look in the war arc. And that's because the real Zetsu is busy taking care of things with Madara regarding the Leaf Battalion.
Sure took you a while.
My opponent was Jiraiya. He was quite an interruption. Madara had ordered me to capture the Nine Tails.
I see, it's gonna take a little longer for you to prepare then.
Yes. Where's your counterpart?
Oh, I'm just a special clone. The real ones are taking care of business in the Land of Fire. We actually know where the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails is right now, but he's guarded by a platoon of ninjas though. Capturing him there would be extremely difficult.
I must recompose myself from the fight against Jiraiya. One of my paths was taken. I must find a new one. After that, I will set to capture the Nine Tails.
I'd love to watch that, but Black Zetsu wants to watch a different fight.
What fight? And that's when we cut to Itachi telling Sasuke,
Me? Dead at your feet? Well then.
Itachi appears by Sasuke with great speed, making the red cloak he was gifted in the Land of Crystals flap.
Let's get to it.
The Itachi versus Sasuke fight begins, and we have the initial exchange where they trade genjutsu with each other. That remains the same. Sasuke's questions to Itachi also remain the same, asking about who the third living Uchiha was. Like in the original, Sasuke deduces Itachi had a collaborator in the Uchiha clan massacre, but this is where we have a change, because Itachi's answer to Sasuke's question there will be different.
You're both correct and incorrect. Your deduction that another Uchiha besides us lives is right. However, I did not have a collaborator when I ended the clan. Even though I knew of his existence, I asked him not to interfere. Killing them all was my duty alone. As I told you before, I needed to measure my capacity. If another had helped me, then my efforts would go to waste.
Sasuke scowled in anger, still piercing Itachi with his sword through the stone throne. Who is the Uchiha? Itachi closed his eyes and breathed in. Madara Uchiha. Sasuke remembered the consciousness of the Nine Tails comparing him with Madara. He also remembered when he found out the Uchiha clan's secret basement, where he saw a hidden family tree detailing that Madara was his great-grandfather. He remembered the story he heard about Madara in the Land of Crystals, when he destroyed their entire village, killing thousands. Sasuke looked at the red cloak he wore, a symbol of what he was trying to accomplish, to restore his clan's honor.
One of the founders of the Leaf Village, and the man who first awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan.
That's impossible. He can't still be alive. Are you playing with me?
Madara is alive. Whether you want to believe me or not is your choice.
Quit joking around. Madara's our great-grandfather. He's too ancient. And the first Hokage killed him.
I see you found our family tree. Yes, we are his direct descendants. And no, he did not die in the battle in the Valley of the End, despite what the first Hokage and all the others thought.
You never change, do you? Lying through your teeth like always. Tell me who the Uchiha is. I'll kill him after you. Itachi sighed.
Every single one of us goes through life depending on and bound by our individual knowledge and awareness. That's what we call reality.
From there, we get the same conversation that they had in the original. The changes here establish that Itachi killed all the Uchihas by himself, which makes it a much more impactful moment for the character, and that both Itachi and Sasuke know Madara is directly related to them. Everything continues to unfold the same until Itachi explains Madara's history and flashback with the Mangekyo and Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. When he talks about that not every Uchiha can attain that power, he will say,
I tried to gain such powers by using our father's eyes, but they failed to provide me eternal light. Just like Madara unveiled, the eyes must come from a full sibling.
The scene continues the same way until eventually Itachi screams at Sasuke with his maniacal laughter, but that was a genjutsu that Sasuke sees through. Sasuke removes the bandages that were on his forehead, but unlike in the original, he won't get rid of his cloak, and will keep the Crimson Land of Crystal's cloak on him as he continues to fight.
It seems like you were able to see my internal self,
Itachi says, just like in the original, and from there the fight unfolds the same, with a shuriken exchange, Sasuke being caught and breaking free of Tsukiyomi, and Zetsu observing and commenting on the fight. One difference that'll be happening during the whole fight is that Sasuke will always weave one-handed signs to use Chidori and its variants, as well as summoning shuriken, which he just doesn't do in the original, he just uses the jutsu. The next change will happen when Itachi starts to weave hand signs, and Zetsu thinks he's preparing to use Amaterasu. As Itachi weaved swift hand signs, Sasuke quickly summoned two kunais from the seal-imbued wristband and tossed them at Itachi. The kunais had paper bombs attached to them. Itachi dodged, still weaving signs, and the kunai
kunais impacted on the ground. Only one of them exploded, which obscured the hideout room for an instant. Is Itachi going to use Amaterasu? Sasuke's quick. He doesn't want to let him do it. White Zetsu thought, watching the fight. I don't know. I thought Amaterasu didn't require hand signs. Black Zetsu thought. While Itachi was still in the smoke, Sasuke summoned a large Fuma Shuriken and tossed it at Itachi's position. The Shuriken entered the smoke, and Itachi only perceived it when it broke through the smoke near him, and it was already extremely close. How does he know where I am in the smoke? Itachi thought, because he had moved around to confuse Sasuke. He readied himself to duck down and avoid the spinning Shuriken, but that was when he realized it was a Shadow Shuriken jutsu. There was another Fuma Shuriken coming from below, trailing and hiding under the shadow of the first Shuriken. Sasuke laced the upper Shuriken with a long-distance electric current. There was no time for Itachi to dart to the side, so he jumped in between the two large Shuriken, cutting through the smoke. Itachi felt the air current they created as he was still in the air in between the two hunks of metal. The blades rotated past Itachi, and that's when he noticed something among the smoke. He saw thin wires attached to both Shuriken. Rigged Shuriken, Itachi thought. Sasuke pulled on the wires, and the upper Shuriken bursted, launching its blades to all sides, one of which was launched towards Itachi. Using the sound cue of the burst, Itachi deduced the Shuriken exploded and was directed at him, and figured out where the blade was coming from just from the sound. He pulled a kunai out of his sleeve, and while still in the air, Itachi flicked the kunai at the incoming Shuriken blade. Metal hit metal with a sharp clink, diverting the blade, making it miss Itachi, but Sasuke used his wire and pulled the second Shuriken, still intact, the one from below, bringing it spinning to Itachi's back. Itachi landed on his side, using his elbow to sustain his weight, and weaved the shadow clone hand sign. A clone appeared right behind Itachi with a kunai in hand to block the Shuriken. Even if Sasuke infused it with lightning to slice through Itachi, the clone would buy Itachi enough time to dodge and regroup. But before the Shuriken even struck Itachi's clone, it puffed into white smoke and became Sasuke. A Shuriken transformed shadow clone. He must have done it when I was in the smoke. Sasuke's clone slashed with his sword at Itachi's clone, who moved his kunai to block, but in a fraction of a second, Sasuke's clone became bright orange. Fire clone, Itachi thought, weaving hand signs. The fire clone erupted, destroying Itachi's shadow clone and engulfing the real Itachi in flames. The explosion dispersed the black smoke, and the fire that leapt out of it left several sections of the room burning, but the real Itachi managed to use a water-style barrier to coat his body and protect himself at the last second. That is very impressive. What is? The method Sasuke used to sense Itachi and attack him even though he was in the smoke, nullifying his Sharingan in the process. How did he do it? I didn't notice. When he tossed the two paper bomb kunais, one of them was real, but the other one was a snake transformed into a kunai. That's why only one exploded. The snake used the cover of the smoke to observe the fight and informed Sasuke of Itachi's position through a mental link. But how could it see Itachi if he was in the smoke? Snakes can see heat, so it knew exactly where Itachi was. If Itachi wasn't so fast and talented, Sasuke's last combo would have worked. Black Zetsu thought, observing a small white snake on the ground a few meters away from Itachi, which he nailed into the head with a tossed kunai, killing it. Sasuke dashed, igniting a Chidori with one-handed signs. The Chidori extended into a long Chidori spear and he sliced at Itachi from 5 meters away. Itachi, now on his feet, dashed back, passing through his own water barrier. Sasuke's lightning spear cut through the water, destroying the barrier, and Sasuke unleashed white snakes from his arm that leaped at Itachi from a distance. With the other arm, he thrust with a long Chidori. Itachi dodged the snakes with great speed and elegance, cutting off their heads with kunai slashes in the process. Sasuke slashed horizontally with his Chidori spear at Itachi's waist, forcing Itachi to bend backwards, putting his hands on the ground to dodge it. Two large white snakes dashed in from each side, hitting Itachi's flanks as he was bent, but Itachi used his hands to create leverage and lift his legs upwards, twisting his body and kicking both snakes at the same time with a rotating motion while he was upside down. The snake heads were shot back, and they hit the ground with loud crunches, cracking the rock. But Sasuke rushed Itachi, lacing his sword with lightning and discharging a flurry of strikes that forced Itachi to dodge. His Mangekyo Sharingan gun darted from side to side, following the azure glowing sword. Applying a lot of defense, aren't you? What's the matter? Is my capacity too great for you to handle? Or are you just feeling the effects of Tsukuyomi? It doesn't matter. That's just perfect for me, Sasuke said, as the patterns of his curse mark took over his skin and he went straight into the second stage with 2 wings emerging from his back. Sasuke's speed surged, and Itachi narrowed his eyes, focusing him to dodge out of the strikes in the nick of time. From the moment Sasuke nullified Tsukuyomi, he seized control of the flow of the battle, and Itachi's movements got slower because the toll the jutsu took on him. Sasuke might actually win this thing. Nah, it's too early to tell. Itachi's used to the pain, and he can still keep up with the full speed of the curse mark. Itachi once more dodged the lightning-laced sword, but that was a feint strike. Sasuke wanted Itachi to move to the right place so he could land his next blow, a kick. He threw his right leg at Itachi, who raised his arm to block. Even though the attack didn't hit Itachi on the face and was absorbed by his arms, Itachi was launched back, sliding on the ground. Sasuke dashed at him, not letting Itachi recompose himself. He used his wings to gain even more speed on the ground. Sasuke slashed Itachi again, who just barely managed to dodge, but that wasn't all. Sasuke weaved one-handed signs. Chidori Stream! Lightning exploded out of him, hitting Itachi and everywhere else in the room, cracking rock, breaking tiles apart, even forcing Zetsu to retreat back into the ceiling itself. Itachi winced in pain but weaved a hand sign. Fire style. Delay light of the twilight. The fire that had caught around several places in the room leaped out of the ground, walls, and ceiling, becoming thin, incandescent strings that beamed at Sasuke from all sides. Some fire beams were destroyed by Sasuke's lightning discharge, but several of them managed to reach him. Sasuke avoided a couple of them, but there were simply too many for him to dodge. He was forced to block 2 of the beams with his wing, which got singed. And as that distracted Sasuke, Itachi dashed at him with great speed, ignoring the pain that Chidori Stream caused, and kicked Sasuke in the head and launched him away. Sasuke bounced 5 times on the ground and hit the concrete wall, breaking off large chunks of it, and cracks began to spread. This forcefully deactivated Sasuke's Chidori Stream. Sasuke stood up with a bruised, bloody face as Itachi looked at him with wisps of lightning still around his body. That's impressive. I had no idea that fire was Itachi's. You mean the fire he used just now was his own jutsu before? Yes. When Sasuke's fire clone exploded, it launched out fire. The fire that caught on the room, however, was not Sasuke's, but Itachi's. He used Sasuke's jutsu to disguise his own, making it seem like he was just weaving signs for the water barrier, when in reality he used a delayed fuse fire-style jutsu so that he could use it later in an opportune moment. Sasuke had no idea. Itachi spread his own fire around the room. At the same time, Sasuke's clone bursted, so it looked normal, and when he weaved that last sign, he activated his jutsu's initial command, which was to target Sasuke. He managed to think that far ahead in such a short time period and with so much pressure, not to mention how fast he had to weave hand signs for 2 jutsus. Yes, that is the power of the prodigy Uchiha. Itachi weaved fast hand signs, ninja art, murder of crows. Countless crows spurted out of Itachi's body and took over the entire room. They flew in all directions, cawing and rattling all around Sasuke, and strangely enough, the air also became hot. Genjutsu again? Sasuke wondered, but it didn't take him long to realize that it was ninjutsu. Those crows were real chakra creations. Itachi disappeared. Sasuke looked around in alarm. He couldn't see his brother. Sasuke moved his wing and blocked a kunai that appeared out of nowhere. He didn't see it being launched. The blade pierced through the wing and drew blood. The crows made everything chaotic. More kunais began to appear. Sasuke could only notice them in time to use his wing and block. Another kunai, another strike to the wing. He blocked that one, but there was an explosive tag on it. Sasuke weaved hand signs and brought his wing close to his hands. He touched the paper tag, and using the sealing jutsu Kakashi had taught him. All those years ago, he defused the paper bomb. For whatever reason, the time he used that jutsu to save Sakura popped into his mind. But Sasuke cleared his thoughts and dashed away. He had to move. Itachi was using the crows to hide his own presence. They were so numerous that Itachi could stay away and use the movement of the crows during the fight itself to completely block Sasuke's line of sight to him. Combined with that, Itachi was using the Uchiha Shuriken Jutsu to launch kunais in strange angles, hitting each other, diverting the kunais to the actual target. That way, Itachi's location would be much more difficult to be pinpointed, and it would be even more difficult for Sasuke to see the incoming kunais. The crows helped hiding them when they were too close to Sasuke for comfort. Regardless of that, Sasuke had to do something. He couldn't sustain the second stage for too long. He managed to block incoming kunais, now pairing with his sword, getting more used to the pattern, but some of them were still blocked by the wings, and more blood was being drawn. He slashed at a few crows, and noticed his sword simply phased through them. It's not genjutsu, but they are immaterial, probably made out of pure spiritual chakra. That makes things more complicated. I can't simply destroy them to see where Itachi is. Now I understand. That's why the air got hot. Itachi used some fire-style jutsu to heat the air all around us so my snakes can't detect his heat signature. So he saw through my last jutsu, huh? Still, this may actually work to my favor in the end. Sasuke thought, as Itachi appeared out of nowhere from behind. A flock of flying crows that had just created some space opened itself up, revealing Itachi. He wielded a kunai and slashed it towards Sasuke, who parried with his sword and counterattacked. But before he could hit back, Itachi exploded, launching Sasuke away. He grunted with a powerful blast, and more kunais appeared from all directions after Sasuke impacted the ground. Explosive shadow clone? Sasuke thought in frustration, blocking a few kunais with his sword and others with his wings. He had to undo the explosive tag in two of those with a sealing jutsu. Two Itachis appeared, one from each side of Sasuke. He ignited a powerful Chidori stream. The lightning passed through the crows harmlessly, but it hit the Itachis. They both exploded, but the Chidori stream slowed them down enough so Sasuke would be fast to completely avoid the blasts. His Sharingan darted from side to side. He tried to find a clue that would give away Itachi's true location, but it was simply impossible. The way the crows moved was way too chaotic and well disguised. Itachi had perfected that jutsu. The real Itachi and even his clones could be anywhere. It was also impossible to hear any sound clues because of the noise the crows made. More kunais, and some with explosive tags, kept on coming. Itachi is cooking him alive, and the clock is ticking against Sasuke. If he deactivates the curse mark, he won't be able to keep up with the murder of crows, and the kunais will start hitting his actual body. But if he keeps it activated for too long, the curse mark itself will destroy him. This jutsu is so cruel. Why doesn't Sasuke just fly away though? That could help. If he flies, he can't use his wings to protect himself. Itachi's jutsu is keeping him grounded. Zetsu observed Itachi and a few of his clones moving behind the crows, tossing kunais that hit each other and were redirected towards Sasuke. From their vantage point, it was incredibly easy to see where Itachi was. He was using the crows to block himself specifically from Sasuke. Sasuke tried to send snakes to spot Itachi. Even if they couldn't sense his heat, they could still see him with their eyes. But Itachi used the crows to block the snake's sight as well, and kunais quickly hit their skulls, killing them shortly after they emerged from Sasuke's body. He blocked another kunai with his wing and brought the wing close to his hand so that he could defuse a paper bomb. Both his wings bled profusely, and several holes were pierced by the kunais, many of which were still shoved in the wings. So much so that the wing he just brought closer to him became crumpled up, and the large hand that the wing was closed up. Pain washed over Sasuke. The curse mark was beginning to take over his body. He had kept it activated for much longer than normal.
Is that all you've got? My dear Sasuke, you need my help.
He heard Orochimaru's voice from within. Sasuke suppressed it and ignored the pain. He had gotten excellent at that after the encounter with Shino. It didn't matter at that point if he felt pain or not. If Sasuke killed Itachi and the curse mark took over him afterwards, his goal would still be fulfilled. Two more Itachi clones appeared, forcing Sasuke to use another powerful Chidori stream to escape their explosions. "You bastard!" Sasuke shouted, igniting a Chidori, jumping up high. He meant to break the ceiling and escape the enclosed space. Too predictable,
Sasuke, Itachi said, appearing upside down, standing on the ceiling, surrounded by crows. Itachi protected the section of the ceiling Sasuke meant to break, and he was going to intercept Sasuke. Itachi pulled out a kunai, and after that, weaved hand signs, fire style, world's brazier. An incandescent fire blade extended from his kunai, forming a radiant sword. Sasuke aimed his Chidori at Itachi, but Itachi caught his wrist with his free hand and slashed with a blazing sword. Sasuke used a closed-up wing and blocked the slashing attack, but Itachi's blade cut through the base of the wing, bisecting it and cauterizing it immediately. Sasuke winced and ignited a Chidori stream, forcing Itachi to release his wrist, but Itachi kicked Sasuke on the stomach and sent him rocketing back down to the ground, trailed by lightning. He impacted the ground below, creating a small crater, but the closed-up wing Itachi had just cut was still in the air, below but close to Itachi. It ignited in a fiery explosion. Itachi dashed away, but the explosion was great. The shock wave still hit him, launching Itachi to the opposite side of the room and making him impact the wall. He fell back to the ground and landed awkwardly. The wing blast blew a hole in the ceiling, concrete fell back to the ground, and the hot air began to rise and escape through the hole.
Oh, so Sasuke stashed his wing with paper bombs and sacrificed it to try and get Itachi. Itachi didn't even realize. That's why he closed the wing. It wasn't because it was too damaged.
And because the hot air will rise, the temperature in the room will drop, and Sasuke can use his snakes to sense Itachi's position among the crows. Sustaining the murder will be pointless now.
Right on cue, the crows faded out of existence around Itachi and Sasuke. I'll take it back. You can be quite unpredictable. Itachi pulled out a kunai again and extended the fire blade next to him. You don't know anything about me. If you could see through my real will, your legs would be shaking now. Sasuke ignited his sword with lightning. Itachi smirked. Then show it to me. They dashed at each other. The blue and yellow blades clashed with an explosion of lightning and fire mixed together. They both unleashed a sequence of cuts, slices, thrusts, blocks, and parries, and moved so fast their swords became a blue and yellow blur. The sound of their clashes was a continuous blast, as the intervals between the hits was so short, I can't even see their moves.
Their blood boils with power.
Fire and lightning gushed out of their clashes. Sasuke ignited a Chidori stream, spreading the lightning around him. Itachi dashed back to avoid the electricity and swung his sword a few meters away from Sasuke. A blade of fire leaped out of Itachi's blade, cruising the air towards Sasuke. He dodged it, and the fire blade cut a wall on the other side of the hideout, burning it in the process. But Itachi zigzagged, avoiding Sasuke's lightning needles, and launched a sequence of long-distance fire blades. Sasuke weaved signs and launched a lightning dragon from his hand, which clashed and protected him from the blades. Their jutsus erupted, and both Itachi and Sasuke dashed at each other again, dispersing the fire and lightning from the explosion as they clashed in the middle of it. Snakes emerged from Sasuke's back, arcing towards Itachi as they clashed. Itachi jumped away, tossing kunais, engulfed in fire, which the snakes blocked. Sasuke jumped after Itachi, creating a wing out of snakes to replace the one he lost. He extended his Chidori into a spear, aiming at Itachi, who weaved signs in return and launched a fireball before the spear could reach him. Snakes emerged from Sasuke's arm, biting the ceiling above him. He used them to pull himself up and dodge the fireball, which hit the ground below with an explosion. Sasuke landed upside down on the ceiling, and so did Itachi. He launched more Chidori needles, forcing Itachi to dash to the side, running upside down and reigniting his fire sword out of his kunai. Itachi dashed at Sasuke, who released a Chidori stream, but Itachi halted and tossed the fiery sword at him. Sasuke used 3 snakes to block it, but once the fire hit him, it exploded, sending Sasuke away. Sasuke once again launched snakes, but this time they bit the edge of the hole Sasuke's wing did to the ceiling. Sasuke pulled up and flung himself out of the hideout, landing on the rooftop. The sky was gray outside, and Sasuke felt cold, rushing wind on his face. Tempest clouds are already forming, he thought with a smirk. Itachi emerged from the same hole, dual-wielding kunai
eyes and ran at Sasuke, who made a scowling sound. "I know this is a shadow clone. I can see through all your jutsu," he said, piercing Itachi with a Chidori spear before he got too close. Itachi exploded and Sasuke dashed back, avoiding the blast entirely. "Are you certain about that, Sasuke?" Itachi appeared behind Sasuke and delivered a backhand chop to his back, which Sasuke managed to block in time, but he was still sent tumbling until he hit one of the walls standing on the rooftop. Itachi's blow detached the red cloak from Sasuke, and it flew away with the wind. Sasuke stood up, but immediately fell to one knee. The curse mark was flaring up again, making Sasuke wince.
I can help you, my dear. You just have to ask. You just have to let yourself go.
"Shut up," Sasuke muttered, refusing to give in, and once again ignoring the pain, he steeled himself. But now he was feeling his left arm becoming numb, and bulged out veins were beginning to pop. "I am certain of one thing, Itachi. Your death." "You remain utterly confident, huh? I'm still not seeing myself dead at your feet. Were those just empty threats?" "You will!" Sasuke dashed, weaving hand signs, and Itachi did the same, weaving the exact same hand sign sequence. "Fire style! Fireball jutsu!" They both stopped and spat fire at each other. The fireballs clashed with a fiery rumble, casting bright orange light on the rooftop as Sasuke's red cloak fluttered in the wind far away from the battle. And here we follow the original very closely, with the exception that Sasuke will be using his full curse mark stage 2 during the entire fire style clash, which is what actually gives Sasuke in the rewrites the edge over Itachi's fireball, forcing Itachi to use Amaterasu to extinguish it. We have the scene where Itachi chases Sasuke with Amaterasu and Sasuke uses the skin change substitution just like in the original, and one difference here is that Itachi will not look so tired and he will not puke blood. Sasuke used the fire style, aiming Itachi but actually shooting it towards the sky like in the original. After that, Sasuke will be exhausted and deactivate the curse mark. Itachi and Sasuke will exchange the same dialogue, but Itachi won't look as disheveled as in the original, and his right eye will not lose its light here. Moving from there, the Kirin scene remains exactly the same, and nothing changes until Itachi reveals his Susanoo. There will be one major change to Itachi's Susanoo appearance. Unlike in the original where his Susanoo is yellow-orangish, it will be a bright cyan blue here. This change may seem arbitrary, but it'll make sense in the future. I won't explain it here because of spoilers though. Other than the color, Itachi's Susanoo appearance will remain the same. Looking upon Itachi's great Susanoo, Sasuke will reactivate his curse mark in utter hatred, having failed to kill him using his trump card, Kirin. But initially, he won't gain that Orochimaru-esque eye. The scene when Itachi unveils his Susanoo remains the same, with the change that Itachi will not go blind here. He's still using his Mangekyo Sharingan as the Susanoo is activated. "Don't be ridiculous! Whatever you use against me, I'll destroy with my hatred!" Sasuke screamed at the armored Susanoo towering a few dozen meters away from him. He weaved hand signs, still in his curse mark stage 2, now with no wings. The pain around his body was profuse. He felt the hateful curse chakra taking over his psyche. Kill him. Destroy him. Rip him into pieces. It wasn't a voice telling Sasuke that, but rather the sheer maniacal will of the curse mark. Black lightning exploded from Sasuke's left hand, hitting the environment around him, cracking the rubble of the Uchiha hideout, which Kirin had destroyed. Raw, cursed chakra exuded from his body, mixing together with the black lightning, and a new set of wings grew out of his back. Veins around Sasuke's body bulged out, and he puked blood. But Sasuke didn't care. He had surrendered to the curse mark, holding his Onyx Chidori. At this rate, the curse mark's gonna be the one to kill him, not Itachi.
Let's see how resilient the boy is.
Itachi Uchiha! I'll tear your flesh apart! I'll sunder you beyond recognition! You bastard! All of Sasuke's cursed chakra focused on a single point, his Chidori. The black lightning gained so much intensity it shattered rocks and the ground all around Sasuke. Its ferocity was such, it began to peel off Sasuke's skin and flesh out of his left hand. Sasuke dashed with his Chidori, exploding the ground beneath him for his sheer acceleration. He became a blur of dark lightning, opening a groove on the wreckage as he cruised towards Itachi. Die! Die! Sasuke thrusts his Chidori. As the Susanoo moved its shield in front of Itachi, the dark lightning hit the chakra shield, making an ethereal high-pitched sound. Black lightning bolts flew in all directions, but the Chidori didn't even make a crack. The shield withstood Sasuke's attack without buckling, and it regurgitated a wave of energy back at Sasuke, launching him away. He rocketed through the air and hit debris 30 meters away from the Susanoo, grunting in pain. The curse mark kept on inundating him. Sasuke puked more blood, and more veins around his body began to pop out and bleed as well. How's that possible? Itachi blocked that insane attack without a scratch.
It's that shield. Of course Sasuke won't scratch it.
What is it?
A legendary spiritual weapon, the Yara Mirror. It is said that that shield can block all things in existence. It appears the legends were not an exaggeration.
Sasuke screamed in agony and puked more blood. He tried to stand up, but his legs gave out. Lumps of disgusting cursed flesh began to pop around Sasuke's arms, and he could no longer move.
It appears Sasuke has reached his limit. You lost, Sasuke. What a shame. All those years of training for nothing.
Quiet! Sasuke screamed, trying and failing to stand up. He couldn't retract his curse mark anymore. The energy had taken over him.
In a minute or two, the curse mark will kill you, and he will still be at large, alive and well.
Orochimaru said, and Sasuke's gaze focused on Itachi, who was standing still and had deactivated his Susanoo. He stared at Sasuke, motionless, with those cold Mangekyo Sharingan eyes. The same eyes that looked at Sasuke at that night.
I am your last chance, my dear. Give in. I will kill him for you, and we will share our existences forever.
No!
I can lend you my power. You need me. Don't you want to take your revenge? Release me. Release my power and fulfill your dream.
Sasuke's mind went back to Team 7, to the Leaf Village. He could finally admit the lie he had been telling himself, that he didn't care about them anymore, that revenge was all that mattered. But deep down, Sasuke yearned to survive. He yearned to see them again, to have things go back to normal. That could never happen now. Sasuke was going to die here, one way or the other. With tears streaming down his eyes, he murmured, "Fine," and let go. Through his mind's eye, he could see Orochimaru's maniacal laughter, and gigantic white snakes emerged out of Sasuke. The Orochimaru versus Itachi fight happens here just like it did in the original. Itachi seals Orochimaru with a Totsuka blade, leaving Sasuke behind shirtless. One important difference here, though, is that Sasuke will still have the curse mark on him. The Totsuka blade only sealed Orochimaru. Oh, Itachi's jutsu dealt with Orochimaru and reverted Sasuke back to normal. It was so quick.
The Susanoo combined with the strongest shield that can deflect all things, and the most powerful blade that can seal all things. It truly makes Itachi invincible.
Sasuke fell to his knees, panting, hurt, with the side effects of the curse mark showing up all around his body. It appears Sasuke can't use the Sharingan anymore. He has no chakra left and lost the powers of Orochimaru. So, Itachi's won?
We shall see.
Your eyes, my foolish young brother, they are still inadequate. If you have anything up your sleeve, I suggest you use it, Itachi said from within his Susanoo. One important detail is that Itachi will not cough up blood here again. In his desperation, Sasuke will stand up with trembling legs and toss kunais with paper bombs, which Itachi uses the Yara Mirror to block, as well as rush the Susanoo with his sword and be thrown back, just like in the original. One major difference, however, is that Itachi doesn't look nearly as tired and hurt inside of the Susanoo. Is that serious? You think those rudimentary attacks are gonna do anything against my Susanoo? Do you really have nothing else? I thought I had taught you this lesson before, Itachi said, deactivating the Susanoo, and he reverted his Mangekyo back to the 3 Tomoe Sharingan state. Sasuke roared and once again dashed at Itachi. With no chakra left, using the curse mark would kill him instantly, so the only thing Sasuke had left was taijutsu alone. He didn't even have ninja weapons anymore. His legs were wobbly and his body was heavy Itachi, but he screamed, turning all his hatred towards Itachi. Itachi casually avoided Sasuke's initial punch and countered with a punch to Sasuke's stomach, which made him spit out. Sasuke attacked again, but his moves were too slow. Itachi had no issue dodging and landing a punch to Sasuke's face, then a kick to his side. Then he grabbed Sasuke's shoulders, pulling him in and stroked his face with his knee. After that, Itachi rotated and landed a roundhouse kick to Sasuke's chest, sending him flying away. Sasuke hit the rubble and fell. His face gushed out blood, and he was barely conscious. With gelatin legs, Sasuke stood up again and rushed Itachi, but he was useless. He could not land a single attack, and Itachi hit him time and time again. It's just like that day. You've gotten stronger, but you haven't changed at all, Sasuke. Itachi grabbed Sasuke by the neck and lifted him off the ground. You still lack hatred. Itachi lobbed Sasuke, tossing him against the rubble. He fell on the ground again and tried to stand up, but his body failed Sasuke. He could barely move. Then perhaps I have to motivate you further. Itachi passed his thumb on the trail of blood the Amaterasu tears left on his face and weaved hand signs. Summoning jutsu. He touched his hand on the ground and 3 metal boxes appeared from white smoke. Do you know how the Leaf found our location here? It's because I told them, and I knew your old team would come here after you and me, Sasuke. Naruto Uzumaki sees that as his responsibility.
What does that have to do with anything?
I have to thank you, Sasuke. Your fight with him the other day made it much easier for me to capture my quarry. You see, my assignment in the Akatsuki had always been to capture the Nine Tails. I suppose I'll have to share half of the credit with you. The others, to be fair, weren't much harder.
What are you talking about?
Itachi weaved a sign and the metal boxes opened. Kakashi and Sakura's corpses dropped to the ground, making a wet noise. Out of the 3rd box fell 2 bisected arms and 2 bisected legs with orange and black clothing. It was very easy to capture him. You slashed his ankles for me. He could barely move. But you see, Sasuke, if you defeat me here, there is a chance you can still save Naruto Uzumaki. I captured him, but he'll have to wait until all other 8-tailed beasts are extracted from the other Jinchuriki so the 9 tails can be extracted. Unfortunately for him, I had to take his limbs. As you know, the boy can be quite lively. Sasuke was in shock. He stared in horror with bulged out eyes at Kakashi's body. His Sharingan was missing. He looked at Naruto's limbs, but he couldn't bring himself to look at Sakura.
Liar! You put me under a genjutsu again!
Sasuke bit his hand, drawing out blood, but no genjutsu was dispelled. No, that couldn't be. It made no sense. Then again, Sasuke knew his former team was after him. They were nearby. My team would have sensed a fight if you captured him and fought against them. Sasuke tried dispelling genjutsu again, focusing the few droplets of chakra he still had left. But nothing happened. And besides, Sasuke didn't have the same feeling he had when Itachi was casting genjutsu on him. But he just couldn't bring himself to believe that was reality. You were wrong. After your fight against Deidara, you were all exhausted. That was when I ambushed them. It wasn't difficult to ambush the Leaf team. Many of them were exhausted. Most of them were weak. This girl in particular. Itachi lifted Sakura's corpse with a disgusted face. She was quite pathetic.
Let her go!
No.
Let her go!
And what exactly are you going to do about it, Sasuke? Sasuke tried to stand up, but he was too weak. It was just like that night when Sasuke watched Itachi looming over him and his dead parents. Powerless, useless, nothing changed. Sasuke lost again. No! Sasuke shook his head. That had to be some sort of trick. It had to be. If it wasn't a trick, that meant Sasuke caused Naruto's death after he hurt him that way, and also Sakura and Kakashi's for drawing them here. No, that was just not possible. Itachi sighed and threw Sakura's body as if it was a trash bag in Sasuke's general direction. She was going to land a few meters away from him, but Sasuke couldn't. He couldn't let her hit the ground. But that wasn't real. It wasn't the real Sakura. Sasuke thought, justifying to himself what was happening there. He spurred into motion. His legs somehow moved, and he jumped, catching Sakura before she hit the ground and landing on his knees. It had been so long since Sasuke touched her, felt her warmth, but now she was ice cold. She had a large stab wound to her chest. No, This couldn't be. And that was when it hit Sasuke. 1,000 memories flashed in his mind. Times with Team 7, Sakura, Naruto, and Kakashi. Good times, bad times, failed missions, successful missions, lazy days, eating Ichiraku ramen, his fight with Naruto in the Valley of the End, the night he left the village, the night he laid Sakura on that bench after knocking her unconscious. It was the last time Sasuke had smelled it, and now the smell hit him again. He had even held his breath when he encountered Sakura in the Land of Grass hideout. It was almost enchanting for him, forcing out memories he repressed, and that's why he didn't want to smell it again. The smell, it was Sakura's smell. He remembered it perfectly. She always used the same fragrance she found out about in one of their missions, a scent he never admitted, but was always eager to smell every day when they had missions in the Leaf Village. It comforted him somehow. Sasuke felt ashamed of that, for he thought it was weakness. That smell. Sasuke gently touched her frigid cheek. Tears escaped his eyes without Sasuke even realizing. Tears of blood. They dripped on Sakura's dead face, and Sasuke looked at Itachi, who was still staring at him. It was as if the air around Sasuke became denser and colder. Sasuke was calm, chillingly so. He realized his own lucidity. His eyes, still crying blood, activated into the Sharingan. The three Tomoi spun and fused together, forming the shape of a lotus flower. Itachi smiled. Finally, this is where the real battle begins. He awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan. This feeling, this chakra, it's frightening. Interesting. So his love has finally matured into hatred. Itachi really managed to force that out of him. You have finally become a useful little brother, Sasuke. Now, I shall collect your eyes and fulfill my destiny. Sasuke ignored what Itachi was saying. He radiated staggering cold fury. His left eye bulged out, and red veins connected themselves to the red lotus pupil. Amaterasu. Dark flame spawned at Itachi, who was fast enough to activate his Mangekyo Sharingan and manifest the skeletal Susanoo, a single skeletal arm, wielding the Yaramir, which he used to put it in front of himself and block Amaterasu. The black fire hit the shield after spawning but did no damage. It also didn't catch the Yaramir on fire like Amaterasu would anything else. As expected from the Yaramir, not even Amaterasu can penetrate it. But Sasuke's right Mangekyo Sharingan spun, and the dark flames, which were about to fade, turned into a dozen thin dark tendrils that wrapped themselves around the Yaramir and darted towards Itachi. What? He can manipulate the Amaterasu flames? Itachi thought, and dashed away. The Amaterasu tendrils hit the ground. Sasuke, still kneeling and holding Sakura in his arms, looked at Itachi again and ignited a blast of Amaterasu, which Itachi once again blocked with a Yaramir that was being held by one Susanoo arm in skeletal form. Itachi ran over the debris, leaving the shields in between Sasuke and Itachi, but Sasuke chased Itachi with his gaze, igniting an Amaterasu on the mirror and keeping his eyesight there, never stopping the jutsu. Dark flames kept on erupting at the Yatamir and incinerating debris everywhere. Red veins popped again in Sasuke's right eye, turning the white of his eye almost completely red. Somehow Sasuke knew what to do. He realized he had complete control over the fire, as if it was innate to him. He was the overlord of the dark flames. Inferno style. Almighty ripple. The black fire which was spawning and cutting on the debris coalesced together and moved on its own, rounding itself behind Itachi and completely surrounding him. The fire rose up like a tsunami, ready to engulf Itachi. The scale of that Amaterasu was much larger than Itachi's. Inferno style. First hell. The dark fire crashed and collapsed, exploding in itself. Itachi activated his corporeal armored Susanoo, protecting himself from Amaterasu, but the dark flames hit the entire humanoid. He dashed away, leaving the dark inferno. Black flames had engulfed the Susanoo completely, and the only part that didn't burn was the Yaramir. The dark fire consumed and destroyed the chakra of the Susanoo, getting closer to Itachi within.
such power, he can control Amaterasu with his gaze alone. The new chakra that manifested with the awakening, it's more intense than Sasuke with the second stage of the curse mark. It's even putting Itachi's Susanoo on the run.
Itachi turned around with his Susanoo, exposing his back to Sasuke. He lifted the Yata mirror, allowing him to dash out of the Susanoo without passing through the fire. Itachi weaved signs and spat a water wall that trailed behind him, covering Itachi from Sasuke's gaze. Amaterasu engulfed and consumed the Susanoo Itachi left behind completely. Sasuke felt excruciating pain. It was as if his eyes were on fire and the pain rippled all around his body. Sasuke ignored it. The Mangekyo Sharingan kept on crying blood, and Sasuke didn't even blink. Dark flames kept on spawning at Itachi. This time the water barrier he created stopped Amaterasu from reaching him, but the fire destroyed the water in a split second. Itachi reactivated the Susanoo before the flames could reach him. Sasuke wasted no time. He targeted the Susanoo again, grunting in pain from his effort. How can he use his Mangekyo Sharingan to this extent right after the awakening? He should be feeling so much pain it would be impossible to stay conscious. Itachi wondered, raising the Yata mirror. The shield blocked Amaterasu again, and the Susanoo extended its free arm out. It split into two connected forearms, each with a hand. Sasuke molded Amaterasu to go around the Susanoo and destroy it from all sides, but the hands of the Susanoo manifested three large chakra tomoe connected by a thread of chakra in between them. The thread looped together, forming a circle, and the tomoe resembled a Sharingan. Yasaka no Magatama! The Susanoo threw the beads at Sasuke. They spun in the air, cruising with great speed, forcing Sasuke to divert his gaze from Itachi. He had to dodge out of the way in a split second, but his legs wouldn't move. But Sasuke flickered his eyes down and saw Sakura's face. Somehow, that gave him strength. Still grabbing Sakura, his leg sprung into action and he darted away. The Yasaka beads missed Sasuke by a hair and they hit the debris behind where he stood. The beads exploded with enormous force, sending the wreckage of the hideout in all directions and raising a large column of blue chakra and smoke. As Sasuke landed with Sakura, two Itachi shadow clones emerged from the ground, advancing at Sasuke from opposite sides. He must have sent him underground when his Susanoo was burning and I couldn't see it. I can't let them explode close to me, Sasuke thought, flaring his Mangekyo Sharingan. Inferno style, thunderous blaze. A ring of dark fire formed itself around Sasuke and blades of fire leapt out of it, piercing and consuming the Itachi clones until they ceased to exist, before Itachi could even explode them. But Itachi sent another spinning disc of Yasaka beads at Sasuke when he was distracted. There was no time to dodge this one. Sasuke looked at the incoming beads with his bleeding eyes. Inferno style, lance of hell. The circle of fire surrounding him coalesced in front of Sasuke in the shape of a dark, blazing spear, which he shot at the Yasaka beads. The two jutsus clashed against each other with immense force. A great dark and blue explosion erupted mid-air, sending a massive shockwave, which shot embers of dark fire far beyond where the jutsus impacted. Itachi discarded his burning Susanoo once again to get rid of the flames, but Sasuke ignored the overwhelming pain in his eyes and ignited Amaterasu once more. Itachi blocked, once more bringing forth the Yata mirror, but now Itachi's eyes winced and he felt a wave of sharp pain echoing in his body.
As expected, Itachi may be seasoned with the Mangekyo Sharingan, but maintaining the Susanoo takes a heavy toll on the body. He can control it extremely well and only use the chakra necessary for it, but simply using the jutsu will hurt you. Sasuke, on the other hand, has a fresh new set of eyes, but he cannot fully control them yet, which forces him to spend far more chakra. This fight, I've never seen anything like it. This is the real power of the Uchiha clan, before it was shackled by the Leaf Village.
Zetsu observed massive rising columns of dark fire hitting the Susanoo as Itachi flung his shield around, blocking the incoming attacks, but the shield couldn't cover the entire ethereal body. Sasuke hit the Susanoo with Inferno-style spears, which erupted into a blazing hell. Itachi discarded his Susanoo once more, panting in exhaustion. Both fighters were extremely fatigued and feeling an unthinkable amount of
of pain from their dojutsu. Itachi, it doesn't matter what you do, my hatred will vanquish you, Sasuke said, igniting Amaterasu once more. Itachi used the Susanoo ribcage this time around himself to make sure he wouldn't be hit by the fire. The flames erupted and sent Itachi flying with his ribcage. It caught completely on fire, but Itachi managed to discard it, falling from the ribcage down below where the ribs weren't blocking and the Amaterasu flames weren't catching, and he fell down on debris. He landed with his hand on a piece of sharp rock, which cut the hand and sprayed blood on his fingers. Dark fire spread itself in the air in front and above Itachi, ready to completely engulf him, but Itachi closed his eyes and activated his armored Susanoo with the Yaramir, blocking the Inferno style. Itachi winced and grunted in pain. His Mangekyo Sharingan eyes faded. The crimson color with a swirling fused tomoe shape gave way to a dull, lifeless gray. He kept his Susanoo activated though. At the same time, Sasuke's vision became blurry, and an overwhelming wave of searing hot pain washed over his body. His Mangekyo Sharingan deactivated. Itachi lost the light of his Mangekyo Sharingan, but he can still keep his Susanoo activated, meaning he has some chakra left. Sasuke, on the other hand, doesn't seem to have chakra to use the Mangekyo anymore. He lacked experience and used the jutsus excessively without proper chakra control. So if Itachi still has chakra, has he won, even if he can't see anymore? That seems to be the case, especially because Sasuke can barely move due to the damage his body sustained. Itachi looked at Sasuke with his menacing dead eyes and extended his right hand, dripping blood. They're my eyes. Mine. He moved towards Sasuke, still clad in his Susanoo. Sasuke's legs gave out. He had to leave Sakura's body behind and crawled back, trying to get away from Itachi. His sight came back to focus and he saw his brother with his hand outstretched, ready to snatch his eyes. It was a truly terrifying sight. Sasuke crawled back, but Itachi kept coming, and a shiver washed over Sasuke as Itachi got closer, encompassing him with his Susanoo. Weak as they were, Sasuke's legs managed to rise. But as he was about to dash away, he hit a wall behind him he hadn't noticed because of Itachi's menacing presence coming towards him. The two brothers faced each other, and Itachi moved his bloody hand towards Sasuke's face, which betrayed a look of utter desperation. Combined with his trembling legs, there wasn't much he could do except Sasuke put his right hand behind his back. Itachi kept on moving his hand towards Sasuke's face. His lips murmured something, and then curled into a smile. Bloody fingers approached Sasuke's eyes. Itachi was ready for his prize. When they reached Sasuke's face, Itachi tapped Sasuke in the forehead with his bleeding index and middle fingers, staining the forehead with blood. It only took a split second. Even though Sasuke was puzzled by Itachi's action, he weaved one-handed signs with the right hand he held behind his back and thrust forward. At the last instant, Sasuke ignited a Chidori which pierced Itachi through the heart, exiting from his back in a spray of crimson blood and azure lightning. Sasuke's hand was inside of Itachi at the same time his brother held his fingers, tapping his forehead. Itachi puked blood, and the fingers that were tapping Sasuke's forehead tripped down, drawing a line of blood across his face. Sasuke yanked his head from Itachi's chest, utterly drenched in blood, and with an ethereal and oddly beautiful roar, Itachi's Susanoo ceased to exist. His body limped forward, and he hit his head on the wall right next to Sasuke's face, falling down. Itachi's life ended at Sasuke's feet, with a large hole in the middle of his chest and a pool of blood forming beneath him. Sasuke breathed heavily from shock and exhaustion as the dark flames of Amaterasu spread all around and beyond the hideout location, starting to take over the entire surrounding forest. The lone white snake, which had managed to single-handedly escape Itachi's Totsuka blade seal, however, manages to narrowly avoid the fire and escape without being consumed, which may not seem like it, but it's a massive change from the original. Itachi is dead, White Setsu thought, staring at the former Akatsuki's body. It's Sasuke's victory. A powerful rumble came from the sky, which had turned dark. I don't get it. Itachi was so close to to getting Sasuke's eyes and he lowered his guard at the last moment for that Chidori. Heavy rain began to fall, drenching the hideout, but it was useless in quenching the dark flames.
Sasuke couldn't use his Mangekyo Sharingan anymore, but apparently he still had enough chakra for a final desperate jutsu. Because of the blindness, Itachi couldn't see that Sasuke still had some chakra, and Sasuke used the Chidori with his right hand. He usually does it with his left. That could have tricked Itachi.
I guess, but I don't think Itachi would have fallen for that. Why do you think he'd be so careless if he was blind?
He was probably running dangerously low on chakra as well. He sustained his Susanoo for a long time, so he had to be quick about it. However, we cannot draw conclusions yet.
Lightning and thunder roared in the sky above as Sasuke stood, leaning against the wall, which the rain pelted now. His eyes turned down, looking at Itachi's dead body. He had finally achieved his life goal. He finally killed the bastard who massacred his clan, but no smile came to Sasuke's lips. No sense of triumph washed over him. He wasn't even lucky enough to feel relieved. His eyes flickered to Sakura's body, then to Kakashi, and then to Naruto's limbs. That was all his fault. There was no way around it. Sasuke only felt desperation and powerlessness. He felt he had accomplished nothing. His body collapsed from the damage and exhaustion, falling next to Itachi straight into his brother's pool of blood, which was now mixing with the rain. The two brothers laid there, motionless, amidst the destroyed hideout of their own clan. The dark flames surrounded it, and lightning came down the sky, meeting the black fire. Above the two, ironically enough, remained the only piece of the construction that had survived the battle, a piece of a wall. On it, the Uchiha clan emblem was etched. A lightning bolt flashed and came down the sky, striking the emblem, destroying the wall with it. The last piece of the hideout. Nothing had remained.
A few minutes ago, Suigetsu swung the Executioner's blade. His arms were incredibly swollen due to the enhancements from the Hydrification Jutsu. The Great Blade met another, an even greater one. It impacted Kisame's Samehada with a strange sound that resembled the regular metal clash of swords. The two Great Blades clashed in a quick and powerful exchange of attacks and parries. The Samehada was covered in bandages, but Suigetsu knew that blade was strange, alive, and also extremely powerful. The strongest of the 7 mythical blade of the mist. He needed it. He just had to take it from the man who stood tall in front of him with that shark smile of his. You've gotten good, little Suigetsu. You're even better than little Zabuza now. Oh, I don't think I am. Suigetsu slashed, but he was countered. He had to hide his fury, his craving, his need for Samehada. He had to make it seem it was just another casual sparring session like all those years ago on that boat. But when Suigetsu saw an opportunity, he had to go for the kill in a single blow. That was his sword's speciality after all, executions. Karin and Jugo stared at the two duelers with apprehension. Suigetsu, damn it, you really shouldn't be doing this. I have a bad feeling. At least the Leaf team halted, and by the feeling of it, they're fighting someone. That's good. But the chakram feeling from Sasuke's location. Karin shivered. She could tell Sasuke was locked in all-out combat with Itachi, and she had never felt his chakra flaring like that before. Besides, Tempest clouds were forming that way. You're also very excited, aren't you? You should go easy on an old-timer like me. Oh, I know your true strength, Mr. Kisame. I wouldn't want to embarrass myself. They kept swapping attacks. So if you're on Sasuke's team, I assume you had been under Orochimaru all this time. Something like that. It wasn't too great, to tell you the truth. I wouldn't think so. Itachi doesn't seem to like that guy at all. He had its highs, though, my time there. Like when I killed Yagura. Kisame narrowed his eyes in the middle of the exchange. Did you really? Suigetsu used that small window of opportunity after he delivered that information and managed to bypass Samehada's guard, aiming straight at Kisame's neck. That's it! Suigetsu thought with a smile, but then a flash of realization came. He was about to kill again. Break his promise again. It was too late now. now, Suigetsu wouldn't be able to stop the slash. The Samehada moved on its own. The shark mouth ripped the bandages on the tip of the sword and it bit the executioner's blade, stopping it before it reached Kisame's head. The blue man smiled. Whoa, little Suigetsu, that was a dangerous attack. You could have taken my head off. Kisame said, with his sword biting and binding Suigetsu's. I knew you'd counter it, Mr. Kisame. But yeah, I kinda killed the fourth Mizukage. So the great mystery is solved then. I have to be more careful around you. I remember you wanted the Samehada back in the day. I wonder if you still feel that way. We kinda settled that we would fight for that sword one day, didn't we? You're putting me on the spot here, little Suigetsu. The Samehada isn't made for duels, and facing a Kage Slayer is not something you do every day. Neither is the Executioner's Blade, to be honest. Besides, aren't you hunting down tail beasts or something? The guys you fight are also really strong. They kept on clashing, and as they did, Karin focused her senses more and more on Sasuke's fight, until a moment she realized Sasuke was out of chakra, and Itachi, to her horror, his chakra was still flaring. Karin squirmed. Sasuke was going to die. She had to do something. She had to save Sasuke. Go rescue him. Jugo, Sasuke's going to lose the fight. He's going to die. We have to go help him now. Take care of the blue weirdo. I'll make a run for it, she whispered in an urgent tone. Jugo's eyes opened wide, and he gave her a subtle nod. Kisame and Suigetsu kept on exchanging attacks, and Jugo waited until Kisame's back was turned towards him. When that happened, he created a curse mark cannon on his arm and shot a chakra blast at Kisame's back. At the same time, Karin jumped away from the rooftop they were on towards Sasuke's location, but Kisame surged in speed. He broke through Suigetsu's guard and shredded Suigetsu with Samehada, which popped completely out of its bandages. Half of Suigetsu's body exploded into water and Kisame turned around, weaving a sign. The Samehada opened its mouth and swallowed Jugo's chakra blast. At the same time, Kisame spat a water bomb back at Jugo. He managed to create a curse mark shield on his arm, but the water hit with an awesome explosion that destroyed the rooftop they were on and sent Jugo flying away. Before Suigetsu's body recomposed itself, Kisame jumped towards Karin, who was doing a mad dash towards Sasuke. Karin winced, noticing her pursuer, and sent a dozen adamantine chains flying out of her body towards Kisame. He unleashed a quick flurry of strikes, hitting the chains and sending them away. Every time Kisame touched the chains with his sword, Karin felt her chakra being siphoned out of her. The chains were connected to her body after all, and that sword appeared to be able to suck down chakra. Damn it! I didn't know this guy was this strong! She thought in desperation as he approached her in the air. You're a sensory type, aren't you? I guess I was impolite. I have been suppressing my chakra signature this whole time. Karin froze, landing with shaky legs, and the adamantine chains that came out of her just flopped to the ground, motionless. Her senses were overwhelmed, as if a tsunami had crashed on her stomach. Kisame had stopped suppressing his chakra signature. That man had a frightening chakra pool. No, that wasn't even a man anymore. It was a monster. That chakra, it was the size of a tail beast. Kisame grasped Karin's neck with his powerful blue hand and squeezed it. Not too tight to make Karin pass out, but with enough power to make Karin understand she just couldn't do anything about it. Now, don't go running away like that. I'll have to snap your neck. Let her go! Suigetsu shouted, running at him with the executioner's blade in hand. Jugo ran beside Suigetsu, bruised up by the last attack he took. Kisame did so, releasing Karin's neck. I don't intend on killing any of you. I just cannot let you interfere. Itachi's orders. Does he really make you do stuff? I wouldn't obey him. In time, you'll learn loyalty is the only virtue that matters. Suigetsu and Jugo stopped, calming down. But Sasuke is going to die.
die.
Karin said, starting to cry. She understood they couldn't do anything about it. The man guarding them was far beyond their powers. Suigetsu winced as his legs wobbled a bit. That shredding attack that destroyed half his body had eaten away an insane amount of his chakra. That Samehara truly was something else.
Please, mister, please, let us go help Sasuke. He's going to die.
Karin begged, kneeling on Kisami's feet with tears streaming down her face. Suigetsu was surprised to see Kisami's face becoming somber, almost sad. His usual unapologetic glee vanished, and he looked up into the graying sky. Don't worry, your friend will be fine.
What do you mean?
The last time I spoke with Itachi, felt like I would never speak with him again. Meanwhile, water fell on Naruto after he emerged from the pond Tobi had kicked him into. The Leaf Battalion stared at the masked man who stood tall on a branch. This scene will remain the same as in the original here, with the exception that Hinata and Sai are obviously not there. In the original though, the scene happens before the Sasuke vs Itachi fight, but I moved it in the rewrite. The scene ends with the battalion charging the masked man after Yamato gives orders. A hooded man walked along the rainy forest. He jumped to a tall branch to overlook the landscape and saw the dark fire consuming the trees ahead. So those are the inextinguishable flames of Amaterasu, Kabuto said. He took off his round glasses and wiped the raindrops off of them. Before putting them back on, his fingers pinched the bridge of his nose and he winced. Lord Orochimaru, could he have really killed you with Sasuke? I should have been better. I should have tried to take you away from Sasuke before, but I just couldn't. My legs, they didn't move. Kabuto remembered the day Sasuke took Orochimaru and simply left the hideout, not even caring about Kabuto's presence. He jumped forward, putting his glasses back on. He skipped through the forest and made sure he would go around patches that were burning with dark flames. He had to be careful not to be hit by small dark fire embers that floated around the forest. I have to try. I just need to have faith, Kabuto thought, activating the second stage of his curse mark. Among the soup of different chakra signatures and DNA that Kabuto had infused in his curse mark was Karin's. Once he used the curse mark, he gained remarkable sensorial capabilities. Over 10 kilometers away from his position, he felt a lot of chakra presences, but some sort of ninjutsu barrier was scrambling them. The feeling of that jutsu reminded Kabuto of the Yamanaka clan abilities. He was a spy in the Leaf Village for a long time. He knew pretty much every jutsu there was to know from those ninjas. But that signature came far away from the actual location Sasuke and Itachi fought. Far away from the origin of the dark flames, and also far away from where Kabuto saw that lightning monster coming down from the sky. Kabuto also sensed Kisami's massive chakra reserves, which obfuscated other chakras nearby him. He was also further away from the fight's location. To Kabuto's dismay, he couldn't sense either Sasuke or Itachi. Could they both have died? And if so, did Lord Orochimaru die with them? Kabuto just couldn't give up, so he had to keep on focusing everything he had into his curse mark, empowering Karin's sensorial ability that he had inherited or stolen. Kabuto could keep his curse mark activated for a much longer time than most curse mark users. It was an enhanced version, but it was still dangerous to his body. He knew the physical manifestation of Nonowai would eventually take him over, but Kabuto ignored it. He stood still once more on a tall branch and closed his eyes. Rain fell on him, and the dark fire surrounded his location. Through sheer mental focus, his consciousness expanded outwards, and he enhanced his sensorial capabilities, drawing an enormous amount of cursed energy which caused him a great deal of pain, until Kabuto felt it. A chakra he could never mistake, that he could never forget, and he dashed towards that chakra with the increased speed of the curse mark. Being careful not to get too close to the dark fire, Kabuto managed to make his way through the forest until he saw it. A small, fragile white snake slithering on the ground, which had miraculously avoided the Amaterasu flames, like a god making his way back from hell. Lord Orochimaru! He shouted and jumped close to the tiny snake. I knew it. I knew you would survive. Kabuto opened his hands and gently allowed Orochimaru to slither into his sleeve. Don't worry, I'll restore your body in no time. We return to the Leaf Battalion as Naruto, Kiba, Lee, and Choji slide back, having failed to bring the masked man down. This scene here will largely remain the same, with a few changes. It will be Neji doing the scouting with his Byakugan no Hinata, obviously. When Shino explains what happened and everyone's coming up with theories as to how the masked man is sleeping through their attacks, after Neji confirms it's not a clone as well, and Kakashi talks about his special jutsu, he will also say, "I had gotten the distinct feeling, an impression he could phase through my attacks when I first encountered him before. This jutsu, if it can truly just become intangible, it has to be an S-rank hidden jutsu, or even a KK Genkai." The scene continues the same until Shino flares his insects. Instead of saying that he was left behind last time to go on Sasuke's retrieval mission, he will say, "We will get Sasuke, one way or the other," and then we'll think, "I wish I could still use the Golden Thief bugs though." Shino will have to resort to his regular bugs since he used the Golden Thief bugs against Jugo, and they have to rest for a week until Shino can use them again. Shino will use his insects to assault the masked man, but he won't say that line about him trying to be useful here. Those lines just wouldn't make sense after his encounter with Sasuke in the Land of Crystals. The scene unfolds just like in the original, with Zetsu eventually showing up and telling Sasuke won the fight, but is in pretty bad shape. The Leaf team sees the Sharingan behind Tobi's mask, and he leaves. Just like in the original, the Leaf village will rush to the battle location after Neji locates it, and the scene continues the same. Madara and Tobi arrive at Sasuke and Itachi first, and they have the same conversation. It's just that Tobi can't stand on the wall anymore here because the wall was destroyed by a lightning bolt, and the Leaf continues to the battleground, and the scene remains the same until Kakashi activates his Mangekyo Sharingan, which he actually does in the manga, preparing to go all out in a fight to come. Suigetsu and Kisame had stopped their duel after Karin's attempt to escape. The four ninjas stood there silent. The howling wind was unsettling, being the only sound they heard. They were quiet, apprehensive. Karin was biting her nails. Zetsu emerged from the ground, surprising the members of Team Hebi.
It's over,
Black Zetsu said. "What about Sasuke?"
Sasuke has won.
Karin sighed in relief.
"Where's he now?"
"We took them to an Akatsuki hideout. You three should come along as well,"
White Zetsu said.
Wait, hold on a minute. You're the enemy. We're not supposed to go with you. You have to give Sasuke back. What the hell?
Shigetsu, stop picking fights with them.
"If you wish to see Sasuke, I recommend you that you come with us. We're not going to harm you, or Sasuke for that matter."
You are not our enemies.
"Why did you kidnap Sasuke then?"
Madara has his reasons.
Madara? As in Madara Uchiha? What do you mean?
"We'll explain it once we're out of here. The Leaf Battalion is nearby, and they would be a pain to deal with."
Suigetsu wins in annoyance. "Fine, we'll go."
What about you, Kisame?
"I would like to see Itachi's body to pay my respects."
Very well. Let's get out of here.
The Leaf Battalion ran on the rain. They arrived at the destroyed site, which used to be the Uchiha hideout. Kakashi looked around with his Mangekyo Sharingan activated. So this is the aftermath of a battle between two geniuses of the Uchiha clan looks like, huh? "Captain, I don't see anything. No one's nearby," Neji said with his Byakugan activated. "There's a faint trace left, but with the rain, I just can't find the track. And it feels like Sasuke was teleported away from here anyway," Kiba said. "So he could be anywhere now, especially considering what that masked man was capable of," Shino said, with a serene face, but he clenched his fists. "We're too late, huh?" Kakashi said, pulling down his headband to cover his Sharingan. The mission failed. Naruto sighed deeply, but his face was resolute under the rain. He looked up in utter contemplation. Sakura lowered her head down and tried to hold her emotions back, but she began to sob.
"Sakura, we tried our best,"
Ino said, trying to comfort her. But Sakura didn't listen to her. She was immersed in sorrow. Naruto came close to Sakura and put his arm around her shoulder. Without saying a word, he brought her closer to him. Sakura turned her face to Naruto and leaned against him, crying on his chest. The whole battalion remained silent. The sacrifices they made, Shikamaru's arm, Anko's life, they had been useless. And the only sounds they heard in that desolate, destroyed place were the rain and Sakura's tears. Kakashi looked at Naruto and Sakura. He was surprised by his reaction after failing the mission. He was proud of his student.
It's not over yet, Sakura. That promise still stands.
Sasuke wakes up in a cave-like room. Here we start the revelation scene about Itachi. The scene starts and unfolds the same way in the beginning, with one small change to a line. Instead of saying we've met once before, Madara will say we've met before, because in the rewrite, they have met twice. The scene continues the same way, with the Amaterasu Itachi implanted on Sasuke's eyes to go off on Madara. He mysteriously survives the dark flames, and a small line change happens here when Madara says Itachi mentioned he wasn't alone that night. In the rewrite, this line will be Itachi mentioned the two of you weren't the only surviving Uchihas. And then he introduces himself as Madara Uchiha like in the original. The scene continues the same way until Sasuke passes out from shock and wakes up tied by ropes. When he screams what Itachi has done, massacring his clan, killing his mother and father, being a rogue ninja of the Akatsuki, he will also say killing Sakura, Kakashi, and Naruto. No, Naruto's not even dead. You have him. The Akatsuki has him. Sasuke screamed, trying to unbind himself, but the ropes were too tight and he was too weak. The wounds he had sustained, alongside the side effects of his Mangekyo Sharingan and the curse mark, weighed heavy on his body. That was mere sleight of hand, Sasuke. Itachi did not kill Kakashi nor Sakura, nor does the Akatsuki possess Naruto Uzumaki, Madara said as a strange swirly pattern spun out of the single hole in his mask. It bent space itself around it. Sakura and Kakashi's bodies fell from that rift in space-time, as well as Naruto's limbs. Sasuke let out an involuntary yelp of terror, but he focused and tried to gather any chakra he had to converge on his eyes. But that man, he could survive Amaterasu. His new abilities wouldn't even work. Calm down, Sasuke. I can see you building up chakra in your eyes. Sasuke stopped, realizing how stupid that was. If that man really was Madara Uchiha, his ancestor, he would have no chance against him, especially in the state he was in. His eyes drifted to Sakura's face. Utter hopelessness took him over. As I said, your former comrades are not dead nor captured. Madara weaved a hand sign and touched the dead bodies and the cut off limbs. Their shapes vanished and they turned into water, wetting the cave ground. What? This is Kisame's jutsu. He has the ability to create perfect copies of bodies using his water style. Itachi asked him to create these for him so he could fool you and awaken your Mangekyo Sharingan. What? That doesn't make any sense. They were too real. That's the purpose of the jutsu. Besides, do you really think Itachi Uchiha wouldn't be able to find out details about them and allow Kisame to create perfect copies? Sasuke lowered his head in utter thought. But he tried to awaken. Why would he do that? I see you're a bit calmer now, knowing your friends are alive. But you would have found out they were alive regardless of me telling you or not. The truth about Itachi is something you will only hear from me. He just did that because he wanted to awaken my Mangekyo Sharingan so he could take my eyes. He was trying to take my eyes the entire time. Yes, he did want to awaken your Mangekyo Sharingan, but he did not want your eyes or eternal light. Why? Itachi was a psychopath. He wouldn't have an issue taking my eyes. To make you stronger. To protect you. What? That's insane. That doesn't make any sense. He was despicable. And he was my goal. From here, we follow the scene in the original. There's going to be a small addition to a Madara line when Sasuke questions why he would believe the story he was about to tell him. Madara will say, I have no evidence I can show you besides the water bodies. So you'll have to decide if you believe me or not. The scene continues the same as in the original as Madara gets into the Uchiha and Senju clan flashback. The backstory Madara tells Sasuke remains the same until he comes to the part when he talks about the Nine Tails disaster. He will say, the Nine Tails was a natural disaster, you could call it. The Jinchuriki got pregnant, which weakened the seal during childbirth, and the beast escaped her. She was Naruto Uzumaki's mother. In a way, his birth caused the Nine Tails to attack the village. So, in a way, Naruto Uzumaki was responsible for the attack. And he will continue the explanation like in the original. One addition is that when Madara talks about Itachi experiencing war when he was only 4 years old, he'll say, that radicalized Itachi from a very early age. He became so anti-war that he would go to any lengths to stop it from happening again. His methods became extreme, his methods to protect his village. village and his brother. After all, remember everything he did to you. That was obviously harsh, extremely so, but Itachi was a man of extremes. Not only did he put up a facade of a psychopath, doing all those things to you, but he also made you much stronger by doing so. And the scene continues like in the original. A small change will happen when Madara talks about Itachi meeting and making a deal with him. Madara will say, in exchange for eliminating the Uchiha clan, I was to leave the Leaf Village alone. I offered to help him in the massacre, but Itachi refused. He said he was the only one who could do it. I believe he did so because he wanted to carry all the weight by himself, so he would never forget what he was fighting for, so that his convictions would never waver. Itachi may have been a pacifist, but he was also an extremist. No one else could have gone the lengths he went to protect you and make sure the village elders wouldn't decide to finish off the Uchiha clan for good. Of course, the massacre was not Itachi's first option. He and Shisu Uchiha tried everything they could to avoid the Uchiha coup without bloodshed. The third Hokage also tried, but everything they did failed due to Danzo's outmaneuvering them, using his root underhanded tactics. Hiruzen tried to negotiate up until the last minute, but time ran out. The scene resumes with the original and Madara continues to explain. The next change is that Madara will not mention Sasuke lost his curse mark because Sasuke still has it, but he will still mention that Itachi wanted to free Sasuke from Orochimaru. Also, Madara will not say Itachi intended to kill Orochimaru and awaken Sasuke's Mangekyo Sharingan that way because Orochimaru was Sasuke's closest person at that point, because Itachi would know Sasuke didn't care for Orochimaru, and that's why he used the water bodies to do so instead. After saying the entire fight was a setup, and it was executed exactly how Itachi wanted, diverting Sasuke's attention to the fact that he wanted to steal his eyes until the very end, Madara will also say, when a powerful Uchiha goes through the purest form of raw emotion, a powerful new chakra manifests itself within, and it's reflected upon the eyes. That is the awakening of the Mangekyo Sharingan. That's what Itachi wanted you to go through, but without actually having to suffer the consequences of a traumatic event. So he faked it with the water bodies, and it worked. You experienced an amazing surge of power, that new chakra which you gained and allowed you to fight longer even though you had run out, now makes you one of the strongest ninjas in this world, Sasuke. Itachi even pushed you harder after you awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan, and that was so you could develop your eyes in a semi-controlled environment. You can take your sibling's Mangekyo Sharingan only when you're dangerously low on light to awaken the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Your eyes must be fully matured before you do so. Itachi was prompting that. He even showed you what you should do. Take Itachi's eyes and awaken your eternal light. The entire fight was Itachi playing a role, and that was to make you stronger, to protect you. The scene resumes until Sasuke questions Madara about the Nine-Tails attack, and that he was the one who caused it because Itachi told him so, framing the Uchiha clan. Madara's answer will be the same as in the original, but then Sasuke will say, "You're lying to me! You're an evil bastard too! I recognize your voice, and that off-putting feeling you gave off. You were the one controlling the 4th Mizukage that day. You kept the Mist Village children killing each other by controlling him." It is true that the Akatsuki had several hideouts and even connections in the Land of Water, but I had nothing to do with the Mist Village's policies. I had taken control over Yagura only a few days before you encountered him. My intention doing that was to use Yagura to kill Orochimaru. He had been a nuisance to me ever since he left the Akatsuki, but you already took care of that for me, Sasuke. To keep it all hidden, Itachi fed you lies. You had to distrust me. He meant to keep you as far away from me as he possibly could. For if by any chance I knew any parts of the truth, it would ruin his plans if I told you. What plans? He wanted you to return to the Leaf, protect the village, be with your friends, live a happy life, satisfied with having avenged your clan. Itachi even warned the Leaf Village about the location of your fight.
He attracted the Leaf Battalion to the Blazing Horn region in the hopes they would find you soon after you were done killing Itachi. He also drew them in because he knew your former comrades would come along, and so the ruse with the water bodies would work even better if you knew they were nearby. It turned out to work perfectly in Itachi's favor, as you even fought against Naruto Uzumaki. Itachi needed you to go back to the village as quickly as possible. He feared that if you learned the truth, or even small bits of it, this would disrupt your life and traumatize you in a way you could never recover, or perhaps lead you to a path Itachi wouldn't want you to follow. I am telling you the truth, as the only two Uchihas alive, and as your direct ancestor, because of the bond we share, you have the right to know it, Sasuke. You have the right to the truth, to Itachi's truth. You have the right to leave this life of lies you've been leading. You don't have to be shackled by Itachi's wishes. You have the right to understand your life and Itachi's have been ruined by the Leaf Village and their decisions, and that the life you led so far was drenched in lies, regardless of what you'll do after that. I feel that is my responsibility. You are my great-grandchild after all.
No, I won't believe it. I won't believe it!
Sasuke screams, continuing with the original. The scene remains the same until Madara mentions Itachi's illness. In the rewrite, Itachi is not sick, so Madara will not mention that. Instead, Madara will say, Itachi knew his Mangekyo Sharingan was running out of light. It happened during your fight against him, so Itachi was on a time limit. He could use the light he had left in his eyes to move against the Akatsuki, try to kill me or some other powerful members, or he could use the light to fight against you, to give this final fight, to set up everything so you would be free from Orochimaru, awaken your Mangekyo Sharingan, acquire knowledge of the eternal light, get easy access to Itachi's own eyes after his death, and be collected by the Leaf Ninjas, returning to the village as a hero who had eliminated the worst rogue ninja in their history. Did you really think Itachi would have fallen for your final Chidori attack to such basic misdirection after everything was set up and Itachi had taken every step he planned, given you every possible future advantage, and extracted everything out of that situation? He let himself get hit by your Chidori, accepting his fate. He could have easily taken your eyes and awakened eternal light. He would have acquired godlike powers. But once again, Itachi chose you. Once again, he valued your life more than everything else, even more than his own life. If he moved against the Akatsuki and his eyes deteriorated, he wouldn't have been able to give you that fight. He wouldn't have given you everything he possibly could, all for his beloved little brother, because he had to fight you and die in front of you. The rest of the scene continues the same, with Madara's speech about Itachi sacrificing everything for Sasuke, and we move to the scene when Sasuke is standing on that rock formation, staring into the water in the sunset, as Madara's speech continues to go. That does not change. The flashback of Sasuke remembering Itachi in the past and the moments he tapped Sasuke in the forehead will also remain the same, connecting back to Itachi's death, when we finally get the reveal of what Itachi murmured to Sasuke just before he died, with a smile on his face, tapping his forehead. Forgive me, Sasuke. This is the last time. Sasuke cries, just like in the original, and the scene continues the same. Taka shall have but one motive. We exist. Sasuke opens his eyes, showing his Mangekyo Sharingan pattern to destroy Konoha.
Naruto jumped through trees, deep in thoughts. He and the rest of the Leaf Battalion headed back to the village after failing the mission. Naruto hadn't talked much since they failed. During this mission, during his last fight against Sasuke, he came to a realization. Crying and whining wouldn't solve anything. He wouldn't complain to his squadron. Pitying himself because of his failure wouldn't make him succeed. He had gotten tired of feeling sorry for himself, tired of complaining. Not that he complained too much to others, others, but mostly to himself. The piled up failures regarding Sasuke were always in the back of Naruto's mind, but now he had to dispel them in order to finally succeed. Some things were out of his control and would always be, but what he could control would be tamed and conquered. Once he returned to the village, Hervey Sage would teach him that new jutsu he promised, an ability that would apparently make Naruto far, far stronger, and so he could finally fulfill his promise to Sakura to bring Sasuke back. Sasuke. Naruto didn't know what happened to him. Why wouldn't Sasuke just come back to the village now that Itachi was dead? He was certain Sasuke still had bonds to the village, to his friends, after everything that happened between them recently, after what he did, pretending he was Sakura. He hoped Sasuke was okay, regardless of where he was, but Naruto just had a bad feeling about it. And then there was that encounter with Itachi in the forest. That's when we get to see the rest of what happened between Itachi and Naruto, and that exchange will remain the same, with Itachi shoving a crow down Naruto's throat. But in the rewrite, Naruto will be thinking about that while they return to the Leaf Village and not in his bed. Also, Naruto will be much more stoic and not depressed as he reflects about it. We cut to the scene in Madara's graveyard where Sasuke is remembering more of what happened during the massacre when Itachi cried, and Sasuke tells Madara that his story about Itachi was apparently true. That scene remains the same.
Sensei, what do you think Itachi meant by that?
Naruto asks Kakashi after he told what happened with Itachi. Kakashi narrowed his exposed eye as they hopped through tree branches. Itachi has always been a cryptic guy, even before what he did to the Uchiha clan. I don't see anything strange with Naruto's chakra, Captain, Neji said, staring at Naruto with his Byakugan activated. Then that crow you swallowed was probably just genjutsu. But just to be safe, we'll have Lady Tsunade and other specialists examine your chakra once we get back to the village.
But he said he shared some of his power with me. What the hell was that all about, and what could it be?
For all we know, he could just have been a shadow clone trying to stall you. You shouldn't dwell too much on Itachi's words. That man was a conniving bastard, and he's dead now. We can't get the intel we wanted from him, but at least he's been eliminated.
I know, it's just that I feel like something is off, you know?
For some reason, Kakashi felt those words carried weight. He felt like they came from a ninja with great instincts. Naruto. He had changed. This mission really made him mature. Never underestimate your gut. Why do you think that?
I'm not sure. I just feel like maybe Sasuke's situation could get worse now.
In time, you'll evolve your Mangekyo Sharingan, and once it is fully matured, I shall implant Itachi's eyes on you, Madara told Sasuke, who still stared at the moon. Yes, I would recommend you not to abuse your new powers, Sasuke. They are difficult to control, and depending on what you do with your eyes, they could deteriorate much faster than you expect, especially when it comes to the curse mark. Sasuke looked at his arm. He still had battle scars from the fight against Itachi, popped veins, and great skin from the overused curse mark. What do you mean by that? The curse mark will synergize with the Mangekyo Sharingan, make it even more powerful, but it will accelerate the deterioration of your eyesight. In turn, because the Mangekyo Sharingan demands so much chakra, the curse mark will deteriorate your body faster as well. I'll keep that in mind. Once I get Itachi's eyes, will that be an issue? It should diminish. But because your eyes will be so much stronger, the curse mark energy will latch itself to them even more. It could make the curse mark even more dangerous. Why is that? Why does it latch itself? The cursed energy you drain into your body with a curse mark is inherently physical. It is unlike regular physical chakra, but it is still physical, so it seeks out mental energy to balance itself. A Sharingan already possesses great spiritual chakra, also known as mental energy. Its evolutions will be endowed with exponentially more mental energy, so the curse mark will latch itself to your eyes. There is a reason why your curse mark is the strongest out of all of Orochimaru's minions. It's because of your eyes, Sasuke. Uchihas like us cannot draw purified cursed energy, but when it enters our bodies, it enhances us more than most ninjas. With a Mangekyo Sharingan, that effect will be empowered even more. So that's why Orochimaru gave me a curse mark, huh? No, I suspect that was simply his
MO, and he happened to find out the enhanced effects he had on you along the way by chance. Orochimaru was not fully aware of what the cursed energy around us truly is. At least not when he developed the curse mark. Purified. What do you mean by that? When you use the curse mark, you take in the cursed energy in its raw form. It's powerful, but it quickly destroys your body, makes you go crazy. The purified version is much harder to control, and it can also overwhelm the user. But once mastered, it enhances the body instead of degrading it. How can I purify it then? As I said, it is impossible for you, for us. Only one specific branch of ninjas can do that. The first Hokage's clan, I assume. Precisely. The Senju clan and its adjacent clans and relatives, Hashirama and a handful of others, were capable of drawing in and purifying the cursed energy. They call it Sage Mode, for they thought they were drawing on the energy of nature itself. Ironic. Why is that ironic? If they knew what the so-called nature energy truly was, perhaps they wouldn't have tried to use it for their benefit. And what is it? I have been using it too. Remains. Not to worry, Sasuke. It's not something you should concern yourself with. So long as you're mindful of how you use your curse mark in your eyes, it shouldn't kill you. Those other clans, the relatives to the Senju, is the Uzumaki clan one of them? Yes, the Uzumaki clan is known for having vast chakra reserves, and their members being extremely powerful. I'm sure you are aware of that. They are capable of purifying the cursed energy. But what's more important now is what you plan to do with all this new information. Sasuke clenched his right fist. I killed Itachi with my own hands. I lived a lie all this time, a lie he made and perpetuated. But most of all, a lie created by the Leaf Village. I fought for them. I fraternized with them. I was one of them. Even when I was in Orochimaru's hideout, the village still had a place in my heart, as much as I tried to purge it. But in the end, the village did this to me, and to Itachi, and to the Uchiha clan. They all live happy and satisfied atop of corpses. Our corpses. They sacrificed their clan for the prosperity of the village. I cannot accept that. It's not what Itachi would want me to do. But I am not Itachi. I will not protect an institution that promoted the destruction of my kin. I will destroy them. That is the only moral thing to do. Madara jumped up, landing next to Sasuke. Impressive. You may be younger, but you are far wiser than Itachi. At your age, and up until his death, he was a slave to the Leaf Village. You were the one who could have broken him out of their brainwashing. If only Itachi had trusted you more, perhaps things could have been different. He distrusted me far too much, but his little brother, I'm sure you could have changed him. Make him see the village for what they truly are. Sasuke narrowed his eyes, holding back tears, and remembering his own hand piercing Itachi's heart. I bled for that village. I bled for my comrades. But much before that, they took my blood away. All of it. And they used me as a trinket. The only reason they can smile is because we died. And then they pretended I was only a victim of Itachi's cruelty. I was their victim. Their pet victim. Sasuke's sorrow turned to hatred. I understand how you feel. Better than you could possibly imagine. I also bled for the Leaf Village. I fought a war for them. No, I won a war for them. And yet, they all despised me. Despite all I had done. Despite being one of the founders. I thought uniting the clans and creating a village would bring peace. But it only plunged our clan deeper into darkness. I heard this story once before. When you ended the first great ninja war. Yes, which reminds me of something. Space swirled around Madara's eye hole and a red cape emerged from it. Madara held it in front of Sasuke. I retrieved this to make sure the Leaf Village wouldn't be able to sniff you out. But this thing, it takes me back. The man who wore this cape was quite brave, but extremely foolish. Madara handed it back to Sasuke, who scoffed. Just like me fighting Itachi then. then Sasuke grabbed the red cloak and closed his eyes. A tear of blood dropped from his left eye. He opened it, showing the pattern of his Mangekyo Sharingan, and the red cloak caught on black fire. It was utterly incinerated, and it ceased to exist in just a few seconds. I will restore the Uchiha clan my own way. Kisame looked at Itachi's dead body with a blank expression. He was in a small, hidden room in one of the Akatsuki safe houses, already outside the Land of Fire. Itachi's eyes were closed, but Kisame thought he could open them at any time. He had been standing there for hours. Itachi was the only one he could have called a friend. They had been comrades for so long, and yet Kisame never really understood the man. Kisame wondered if Itachi thought about him as a friend as well. He never asked Itachi about these types of things. It was sort of a silent agreement they had shared. They wouldn't talk about deep personal things and focus on the task ahead, while still acknowledging each other's emotions. Itachi was, of course, the leader of their duo, but he always had respected and trusted Kisame. "You know, I thought you could never die," Kisame said out loud to nobody in particular, and yet Itachi had died. Somehow Kisame already knew it was going to happen. During the last conversation they had, he knew something was off. "I wonder what type of human you truly were." A few days ago. "Thank you for providing me with the bodies, Kisame," Itachi said, sealing and unsummoning 3 metal boxes where he had stored Kisame's water bodies. They were inside the Uchiha hideout. Kisame never knew this place existed. It looked like an old fortress, probably from the time of the Warring States period. "Of course, but are you sure you don't want me by your side during the fight?" "No, I must be alone with my little brother." "By all reports, Sasuke has gotten pretty strong. Aren't you afraid of dying, Itachi?" "There are things far worse than death, Kisame. Perhaps one day you'll understand." "That's not what I meant. I don't want you to die." To Kisame's surprise, Itachi opened a warm smile. "Deep down, you're a good man, Kisame." That response puzzled Kisame. He certainly wasn't a good man. "Please intercept Sasuke's team and make sure he comes alone to meet me." Kisame stared at Itachi, trying to decipher what he was thinking behind those red eyes. They were impossible to read. Kisame knew one thing, though. Itachi was hiding something, but Kisame nodded. He would obey and carry out the mission to the best of his abilities. After all, loyalty was the only true virtue. Kisame didn't need to know Itachi's motives to be loyal to him. It was just that. He would fulfill his obligations, but he still didn't want Itachi to die. And yet, it seemed that was what Itachi himself was heading towards. Willingly, he did not understand the man at all. "Good luck, Itachi." "Thank you, Kisame." Those were the final words Kisame heard from Itachi's mouth.
You've been standing here for 3 hours.
White Zetsu said, interrupting Kisame's reflection. He came back to it and realized he was still staring at Itachi's corpse. He hadn't noticed Zetsu's arrival. "Is that a problem?"
I don't think so. It's just I wasn't expecting you to be so full of sorrow.
"You find me incapable of emotion."
No, more like you have the emotional range of a fish.
Kisame lowered his head, as if he had just taken a powerful blow and accepted defeat.
You shouldn't mourn Itachi Uchiha. He was a traitor to the Akatsuki.
Black Zetsu said. "What?"
Yes, that's exactly what you heard. He has been a double agent working in fact for the Leaf Village all along. He actively worked against the Akatsuki's goals, fitting the Leaf Village with intel and halting our progress.
"You're lying."
I am not. You know that, don't you, Kisame? Itachi has always been a weird one, even for our standards. Think about actions he's taken that seem to make no sense. They made sense, just not for someone loyal to us.
He may have been weird, but he wasn't a traitor.
He was. Where's your ring, Kisame?
Itachi kept it.
Itachi destroyed it with his Amaterasu alongside his own ring. The leader knows when the ring is destroyed. He's informed me as much. And that's just one of the things he's done to interfere with our goals.
Kisame looked shocked, thinking back and reflecting about things Itachi did. Him being a traitor would fit, but why?
He's used you all this time to further his and Konoha's goals. You owe him no mourning.
Kisame grunted in frustration and motioned to leave the safe house.
Nothing changes with that, Kisame. Our plans still remain.
What plans? How can I? Kisame stopped talking and left. After this, we get the scene when Toby reveals that he is moderate to Kisame. It happens right after Kisame leaves the safe house, where Kisame is reassured by the fact that Madara Uchiha, his former lord, is commanding the Akatsuki.
The Leaf Battalion arrived back at the village after 3 days of journey. They dispersed. Naruto went back home while Kakashi and Sakura went to give a comprehensive report of the mission to the Hokage. When he got home, Naruto felt tired. Not so much physically, but mentally tired. This last mission had been rough. Still, even though he was worn out, Naruto was still eager. He wanted to train, to master whatever Jutsu Pervy Sage said he would teach him. And Naruto got the feeling every member of the battalion felt the same way. They needed to get stronger. Naruto almost ran to the Konoha training grounds, but Kakashi-sensei told him to rest. Besides, Yamato couldn't be around him all the time to oversee the Shadow Clone army training, so for now he would take Kakashi's words and rest. The team had arrived to the village early in the morning, so Naruto would just take it easy for now, maybe check up on Shikamaru later. After a couple of hours, Kakashi showed up to Naruto's window, telling him that Lady Tsunade had summoned him. This is the scene when Naruto finds out Jiraiya died. It ends with Fukasaku telling him Jiraiya was killed in battle, and it will remain the same as in the original, with the exception that Sai is not there in the Hokage's office because he doesn't exist in the rewrite. The next scene is when Team Taka and the Akatsuki have a meeting where it's decided that Taka will hunt the 8 tails for the Akatsuki in exchange for the power of the tail beasts for Sasuke to attack the Leaf Village with. It's also the scene when Suigetsu dashes at Kisame but Madara blocks his executioner's blade with his hand. That scene will remain the same, but after that, there will be an additional Taka scene. After the meeting is over, that is. Team Taka hop trees, heading towards the Cloud Village to hunt the 8 tails. Was that really necessary, Sasuke? Suigetsu asks, a bit annoyed. Sasuke had commanded him to attack Kisame during the meeting, even though Suigetsu didn't want it to do that after what happened during their fight before. I wanted to test them, to see how they would react. Madara is strong. I wonder if he's really all that. If he's that strong, he would just capture all the tail beasts by himself, Karin said. He has other goals, I know it. Capturing the tail beasts is only a part of it, and maybe because of these goals, he cannot capture them too soon. I don't know, those guys are shady, Sasuke. I don't trust them. Do you really think working with them is the best option? Don't misunderstand. It's not the Akatsuki that will use Taka. It's Taka that will use the Akatsuki. Karin blushed at what Sasuke said. He was so cool, and his chakra had changed. It had become more intense than ever. The next scene is when Obito and Zetsu talk about the Akatsuki, Itachi being dead, and freeing them to attack the Leaf Village and capture the 9 tails, as well as Madara having tamed Sasuke. This scene will remain the same, but there will be an addition at the end of it.
Then it's settled. Nagato will capture the 9 tails, and after that, I will forcefully make him cast Rinne Tensei.
Black Zetsu told Madara, you believe he will be weak enough for you to gain complete control over him?
He will face the entire Leaf Village. I certainly hope they exhaust him. Otherwise, our enemies would be pathetic.
And so I shall return with all my might. The might of Madara Uchiha. Danzo sat in a dark, sealed-off basement, drinking some tea when he received a mental message. Lord Danzo,
Speak, Fu.
it is done. Itachi Uchiha is dead. You can return to the village. Danzo couldn't help himself. He raised his cup up in the air to no one and smiled.
Who killed him?
Sasuke Uchiha.
I see. Is Sasuke Uchiha returning to Konoha?
No, the battalion who was sent after them couldn't track Sasuke after he killed Itachi.
I shall return at once. Did anyone suspect your disguise?
No, my lord. They have no idea. Shall I send a team to retrieve you and escort you back to the village?
That will be unnecessary. I shall be back in 2 days.
Very well, my lord. Fu severed the mind link. Danzo leaned back on his seat, gulping the rest of the tea and feeling so much lighter. The great problem Danzo faced ever since Hiruzen died was finally gone. If it wasn't for Itachi, Danzo would have become Hokage twice over already. 4 years ago, Danzo looked out the Hokage's office window. He observed the reconstruction of the Leaf Village after Orochimaru's invasion. The 2 Leaf Elders had gone to finish the bureaucracy procedures with the feudal lord to elevate Danzo to the 5th Hokage position. Orochimaru was a fool attacking the village like that. He had become a much greater problem than Danzo had imagined, but at least he cleared the path for him to become Hokage. He would deal with Orochimaru later. Danzo may have disagreed with Hiruzen, but killing him like that was a mistake, and he would take his
vengeance. But now, he had the village in his hands, and he would do whatever was necessary to protect it, to make it survive. He was the only one brave enough to sacrifice not only his life, but his soul for his village. The office door behind him opened.
Back already? Have you the paperwork?
He said, still staring out the window with a smile. The room fell quiet for an eerily long moment, which made Danzo turn around and face the door. That was when terror imprinted itself in Danzo's face. It's been a while, Danzo, Itachi Uchiha said.
What? You? What are you doing here?
After Lord Hiruzen's death, I came here to make sure you would still keep your end of the deal. If you do anything to Sasuke, I'll leak vital intel to enemy nations and also kill you, Itachi said, closing the door behind him. He stayed away from the window so as not to be spotted. Danzo felt a cold drip of sweat running down his temple.
I am aware of the deal.
He looked around himself, expecting something. Do not worry. I did not kill any of the Root Anbu escorting you, but rest assured, they will not be coming to help you. Danzo narrowed his exposed eye.
You don't need to worry, as I said. Your brother is safe. He will continue to be safe.
You must also quit your silly dream of becoming Hokage, or I'll kill you.
What? That was not part of the deal.
I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further. Itachi's body turned into a murder of crows and scattered away. The office door opened again. The two elders appeared, holding scrolls and papers.
What is it, Danzo? You look pale.
I cannot be Hokage.
What? Why not? We've already finished the entire process, all the bureaucracy.
It wouldn't be right. Not with the history I had with Hiruzen. Besides, I can do my job better from the darkness,
he said, passing by the two.
So who do you suggest?
Didn't that fool Jiraiya just return to the village?
Danzo said, leaving the room without even looking at the elders. Danzo looked at a mirror in the basement where he was hidden.
Even though you tried, at the end, Itachi, you could never escape the threads of destiny,
Danzo said, remembering the night he tried to overtake the Leaf Village a few weeks ago. Itachi sent a shadow clone to stop him. If Itachi had gone in person, Danzo would be dead right now. But Danzo understood why he couldn't do it. He had to make preparations to die. He had to give his little brother everything he possibly could. That had always been Itachi's greatest weakness. The one Danzo used to manipulate Itachi for the benefit of the Leaf Village. Now everything Danzo had to do was to finally become Hokage. Picking back up with the scene when Naruto learns about Jiraiya's death, there is only one small change that will happen before Naruto leaves Tsunade's office. The dialogue will remain the same, but Naruto's face will remain more stoic. He won't scream or lash out. The scene of Naruto meeting Iruka during the day and rejecting his invitation to go to Ichiraku Ramen will remain largely the same, except that Naruto's face will be again more stoic and not so obviously depressed. Naruto will stay in his home for a while without saying anything, and just like in the original, at night he will go out for a lonely walk in the Leaf Village streets. The cool night breeze hit Naruto's face under the stars as he made his way through his village, which at that time late at night had its streets all but deserted.
Naruto Uzumaki!
Someone screamed at Naruto as he was going down a concrete staircase. He turned around and saw Hanabi Hyuga. Tears streamed down her Byakugan, which had its veins flared in utter hatred. Naruto had seen eyes like that before, all those years ago in the hotel hallway when Sasuke saw Itachi again after a long time. Eyes of hatred that sought death and revenge. And now those eyes were aimed at Naruto. Naruto lowered his eyes, knowing why Hanabi was there.
You murdered my father!
She screamed. Hanabi hadn't been in the village for Naruto's Takeshijo against Hiyashi. She was attending the Chunin exams in the Grass Village, and apparently she passed, for Hanabi wore the Leaf Village Chunin vest.
And you threw my sister in jail!
That was not me. Hinata has changed.
Shut up! Shut up, you murderer, you beast! You monster!
Hanabi, your father was a horrible person. He ordered the killing of his own bastards. He tortured the branch family of your clan. He covered the fact that another Hyuga killed your mother because his treatment of the branch family was so bad, just to keep himself looking good. He mistreated Hinata so much she joined Danzo's army.
Lies! All lies! All those are lies!
They're not lies. Your father, he had it coming.
How dare
dare you? You would never know what I'm feeling. You killed your own father, you nine-tailed demon.
Hanabi dashed at Naruto screaming and thrusted a Hyuga palm strike with ferocity. But Naruto casually caught her wrist before the palm reached him. She pushed with all her strength, but Naruto's arm did not budge. She simply couldn't move past his guard. He was so much stronger.
I know how you feel,
Naruto said with an emotionless face.
You could never know.
Hanabi launched her other hand towards Naruto, aiming another palm strike. Naruto caught her other wrist as casually as he caught the first one. He held both her arms as she wailed and tried to strike Naruto, but he didn't let her wrists go. He was overpowering her. He was a child fighting a man.
Let me go. Let me go.
You're not gonna listen if I let you go.
Shut up. I don't care about what you have to say. You killed my father in front of my whole clan, my family.
In front of the people he enslaved.
That is not true.
Naruto kept on holding her wrists, making it seem effortless as more tears fell from her eyes.
Talk to Neji or any other member from the branch family. I did what I had to do. I'm sorry for your loss, but your father was torturing the entire branch family with a forehead seal. I had to stop him.
Hanabi looked down and closed her eyes.
I wish there was another way, Hanabi.
Of course you killed him. You don't know how it feels. You don't care about anyone, just yourself. That's why you killed the fourth Hokage.
I know how it feels.
Naruto said, narrowing his eyes. He still held her wrists.
You don't let me go.
Naruto sighed and released Hanabi. When he did that, she instantly lunged at him again and unleashed a fast flurry of gentle fist palms. Naruto reacted by slapping at her wrists, redirecting the attacks. Once more, he made it seem effortless.
I will kill you, I swear,
she said, throwing gentle fist palms.
That's not gonna bring your father back.
But I will avenge him.
Revenge, hatred, the unending cycle. Naruto thought, remembering the final hug he shared with Pervy Sage. His face wrinkled in anger, and he threw a punch at Hanabi's face. For a brief instant, as Naruto's hand was about to connect, she became petrified with fear, not expecting Naruto's counter to come with such violence. But Naruto stopped his fist, a hair away from Hanabi's face. She felt the wind rush created by the attack, which blew her hair away, as Naruto's knuckles stood right in front of her Byakugan eyes.
Go away, Hanabi. If you don't want to listen, there's nothing I can do about it.
Anger flooded back into Hanabi's face, replacing the momentary fear. But now, powerlessness accompanied that sentiment. She resigned herself, turning her back to Naruto.
I don't care about what you or anyone else says. He was my father, and you killed him. So I'll kill you for that. I just have to get stronger. So if you want to stop me, you better pierce a kunai down my back right now, like you did to my father. Because if not, I will kill you.
Naruto ignored her monologue, turning around and walking away. Hanabi grunted in anger. She thought about dashing at him again, but gave up on the idea. Naruto's destiny would come to him soon enough. Naruto resumed his lonely night walk, and then we get the bench scene when Naruto cries, eating his popsicle. Iruka's pep talk remains the same, and this is the scene when Naruto lets it all out as he was trying to hold his sadness in during the day. The next scene is the one Tsunade gives Shikamaru the mission to decode the message on the back of Fukasaku with a cipher core. Tsunade leaves the office and cries. That remains the same, except that Shikamaru only has one arm. We continue with chapter 406 now, when Ibiki gets the mission to interrogate the captured Rain Ninja, and Shikamaru starts working on the encryption of the code, as well as the forensic ninjas who are now working on the autopsy of the animal path. We get the 106 scene, the famous one, and those all remain the same. The next scene is Shikamaru questioning Naruto about the code. There will be a change to this one. Naruto will not assume Kurenai was hospitalized for eating too much barbecue because her stomach is big. Instead, he'll say,
Kurenai-sensei, I didn't know you were pregnant. Congratulations,
he said with a warm smile. She smiled back. Thank you, Naruto. And then the same resumes and remains the same, because Naruto should know what pregnancy is when he's 16, and the joke is bad to begin with, it's not funny. Next we get the scene when they decode the message with the help of Naruto, and that remains the same. They find out the code through Jiraiya's books. We get Madara talking to Pain and Konan about the Leaf Village invasion, and Pain prepares to head to Konoha. That scene remains the same. Now in the manga, this is when we would get Team Taka inquiring about the location of the Eight-Tails as they assault a Cloud Ninja. However, in the rewrite, this is not going to happen now. Everything related to Sasuke, Taka, the capture of the Eight Tails will happen after the Pain arc. This will be done to make the timeline work better after the Pain arc ends, so we won't see Sasuke in the rewrite for a little while, and his scenes, as well as Killer Bee scenes and everything like that, will be skipped for now and happen later, but we're gonna get to that when we get to that. Next, we have the scene when Naruto and the others deliver Fukasaku the decrypted message. There'll be a couple of changes here. Naruto will not drop his head down when he finds out the autopsy will take another week to complete. He won't be so self-defeating now. Also, when Fukasaku says he'll train Naruto in Sage Mode, he'll add,
Jiraiya boy intended to teach you the sage art. He believed you could become a perfect sage, and according to our sensory toad, your chakra's already mature enough. You can start to take in some nature energy, Naruto.
The rest of the scene continues the same. Naruto leaves to Mao Miyaboku, and then Pain gets to leave the Rain Village. Those scenes are the same. Naruto starts his Sage Mode training, and that remains mostly the same. However, there are going to be a few additions. As Fukasaku explains that taking in nature energy requires Naruto to stay completely still, he'll also say,
Your chakra is special. Only a specific branch of ninjas are capable of taking in nature energy at all. You, as an Uzumaki, have that capability.
So I'm that great, huh?
Fukasaku laughed.
Your chakra, because of its special nature, is capable of attuning itself to nature energy and filter it into your body. But that doesn't mean it will be easy. It only means you are capable of doing so to begin with. Even someone extremely powerful like Kakashi wouldn't be able to take in nature energy no matter how much he tried, because he doesn't have that right type of chakra.
What about the Uchiha clan? Can they do it?
No, the Uchihas cannot. Even Jiraiya boy struggled with it. He was an imperfect sage because his chakra was not 100% right for it, but apparently he was a distant relative of either the Senju or the Uzumaki clan. He probably had a far ancestry from one of those two clans, which gave him partly special chakra that enabled him to use Sage Mode, albeit not in an optimal way. But you're different, Naruto. You may be half Uzumaki, but you've inherited a bizarrely large amount of chakra. Chakra with a clear Uzumaki signature, so you can master Sage Mode to its completion. Well, if you survive.
Survive?
Fukasaku then moves to show Naruto about the toad oil, and the scene continues from there. That will remain the same. Naruto receives Jiraiya's first book from Fukasaku, he reads it, and the training continues the same way until Naruto masters perfect Sage Mode. And then Fukasaku tells him it's time for Naruto to learn Frog Kumite. Now we get the scene of Naruto training secretly at night. That does not change. Now, one thing that happens in the manga during this section of the story is that Naruto's Sage Mode training constantly cuts with Sasuke and Team Taka fighting the Eight Tails and other things like that. But because the entire Sasuke thing is gonna happen later, Naruto's training will be cutting with other things. Mainly the other Konoha 11 members training in the Leaf Village, which I will describe now. Thank you for showing me those jutsus. Neji told Yamato in the middle of a Leaf Village training ground. He had cut his hair shorter. It was now loose and shoulder length. Neji changed his outfit too, no longer wearing the more traditional Hyuga robe. The cursed seal was displayed for all to see, and now he wore the headband around his waist. No problem. I'm just impressed with how fast you master them, Yamato said. Lady Tsunade lent me a few scrolls written by the second Hokage. They were helpful. I'll try to combine the jutsus with my gentle fist now. I look forward to that. Glad I could help. As a fellow ninja with facial scars, I felt obligated. Although I bet the girls will like yours, unlike mine. Neji laughed. I don't know about that. Shikamaru focused. Sweat dripped down his face as he weaved one-handed hand signs with his remaining hand. Protect the king. Shikamaru remembered Asuma's words. He remembered Anko's death. Are you afraid to get hurt? He remembered Temari's words after he failed the mission to retrieve Sasuke. What the hell was Shikamaru even talking about? After he lost his arm, he thought about quitting being a ninja. That was not an option. Of course he had to continue. Asuma entrusted his child to him, so there was no other option than to soldier on. He kept on weaving one-handed signs, trying to mold his chakra with a single hand. A few weeks ago. Lee, Shikamaru said, meeting Lee in a small Leaf Village restaurant. Hey Shikamaru, nice to see you again. Thanks for coming. You know I need your help with something. Oh, what is it? I want to learn the inner gates. If you could teach me. Inner gates? Really? Yeah, I know I look like a fish trying to walk, but I think the gates could be useful in a pinch. I'm not a ninja with a lot of chakra, so the gates could be a good last resort. Yeah, of course I can teach you, but training for the gates is gonna be hard work. I know. I'm trying to become a hard worker against every fiber of my being, Shikamaru said with a smile. He remembered that exchange with Rock Lee as he still practiced one-handed signs. He managed to master the first gate, albeit he couldn't use it for very long, and that had already paid off. He managed to save Choji's life because of it. The gates were difficult to learn, but he managed. Now he had to master one-handed signs. According to Naruto, Sasuke had mastered them. Shikamaru was not a prodigy like him, but he had to give it his best shot. That boy, he never leaves his room anymore, Shikamaru's mom told Shikaku, his dad. They were in the kitchen. I know he's been through a lot. Asuma died, he lost his arm, but he should have dinner with us sometimes. Shikaku smiled, looking at his wife. Shikamaru is becoming a man. He's working hard. So for now, let's give him some space. Kiba and Akamaru laid on the ground, panting in a Konoha training ground. Several trees were destroyed around them. We did it, Akamaru. We did it. Akamaru barked back at him. Good job, Shino said from afar. He was looking at and manipulating fireflies. They flew in a circular pattern, blinking in a very aesthetic way. Great, Kiba. I told you if you focus more on your link with Akamaru, you'd do it, Kurenai-sensei told from afar as well. Sensei, are you sure it's okay for you to be here? You have to rest. I'm pregnant, Shino. I'm not an invalid, and I still have a duty to my students. Shino remembered the conversation he and Kiba had with Kurenai after they found out what happened to Hinata. It happened right after they came back from the Land of Crystals mission, a couple of weeks ago. Kurenai-sensei, about Hinata, You don't have to apologize for anything, Kiba. I was her sensei. I was the one who failed her. But if we paid more attention, maybe she wouldn't have become this assassin. There's no point in saying this now, Kurenai said with a sad smile. I wish I had done more. I knew her father mistreated her. I shouldn't have allowed her to quit being a ninja. I knew something was weird, something was going on, but it wasn't my place to interfere with the Hyuga clan's affairs. I was a coward. You're not a coward, Sensei. Please don't torture yourself over it, especially now when you're pregnant. When we're allowed to, we'll go talk to Hinata, sort things out. We'll bring her back to us, Shino said. At the present, he looked at his pregnant sensei, wondering if his old team would ever get back to normal, and hoping he could fulfill his promise to Kurenai. So this is how you felt, Naruto, he said to no one in particular. Sakura clashed against her own inner self avatar manifested physically, practicing ninjutsu and taijutsu at the same time. The powerful attacks they dished at one another made the blades of grass around them bend with the wind from the shockwaves. Next time, I have to be ready. I have to be stronger so I can be by Naruto and not behind him, Sakura thought as she fought her inner self. Is that all you got? Don't be a weakling! The dark avatar screamed, throwing a kick. Rock Lee breathed in heavily in the middle of the night. The crescent moon bathed him in a faint light. He was alone in a training ground. You should have trained harder. Sasuke's words echoed in his mind. I can't stop now. Not yet. When Guy Sensei comes back to the village, he'll see I've gotten so much stronger. Rock Lee reactivated the gates and went back to training. Ino kissed Choji's cheek early in the morning. Good training today, she said with a smile. I'll go for it. Don't you want to come train with me today? I can't. I'm helping Dad with the interrogation of that ninja that Lord Jiraiya captured. Oh yeah, right. Good luck with that. Neji's team lined up in front of him after an intense training session. Hanabi, Kogoro, and Shoto. Hanabi wore her Leaf Village Chunin vest. The two boys did not. But even though she had been promoted, Neji noticed she was miserable. During training, her eyes oozed hatred, and she had become careless and unpredictable. That started when she returned to the village, and Neji understood why. Finding out your father had been killed was a terrible thing, one he could relate to. Neji was conflicted because within himself, he was glad Naruto killed Hiyashi. But she had to try to be respectful towards her feelings. Now that Hanabi has been promoted to Chunin, she may be assigned to other missions and teams. I know we haven't been a team for a very long time, but we'll continue to work together until Kogoro and Shoto are promoted. I like your new style, Sensei. Well, thanks, Shoto. So now that Hanabi is a Chunin, does that mean we'll have to find someone else to take the Chunin exams with us the next time? Kogoro asked. Yes, we'll find someone someone when the time comes. But good training today, guys. The three younger ninja motioned to leave. Hanabi, a moment please. The girl stayed behind. Yes, sensei? She tried to be respectful, but Neji could feel her discontent. Your moves, they are different, are they? Yes, Hanabi, they are. Was my performance bad during training today? Not necessarily, but it was dangerous. If you're careless like that on the battlefield, it could cost your life. That's fine. Hanabi turned away, but Neji held her wrist, not letting her leave. What? Hanabi, I cannot have you like that. As a ninja, you will experience loss. If it affects you that much, then I'm afraid you shouldn't be going on missions anymore. She began to cry suddenly. Your friend, the demon fox, he killed my father. Your uncle, and you did nothing. You only stood there and watched. Even if I wanted to do anything, your father was torturing me and the rest of the branch family to provoke Naruto. We could not move. You're lying. Those are all lies. I can't believe you believe that stupid fox. Don't call him like that. I'll call him whatever he wants. I hope the Akatsuki gets him. Neji narrowed his eyes in anger and swung a gentle fist palm to Hanabi's stomach. The force of the attack lifted her off the ground and launched her against a tree nearby. She fell on the ground, wincing in pain and gasping for air, in complete shock. She never imagined Neji would do that to her. He knelt in front of her and grabbed her hair, pulling her head up to face him. His Byakugan was activated, and the Hyuga cursed seal was eerily visible, making Neji seem like a devil. Hanabi's eyes trembled in fear. Hanabi, you must learn something your father never did. Actions have consequences. Naruto is a Leaf Village comrade. Betraying him is betraying the Leaf Village itself. He never intended to kill your father, but Hiyashi put him in that situation, an impossible situation, forcing a Takeshija with Naruto. And Naruto put an end to his tyranny. Everything you heard about Hiyashi Hyuga is true. Even the Hokage herself has confirmed it after thorough investigation. No, this cannot be. Neji cocked his head. You attacked Naruto, didn't you? Hanabi gasped, not knowing how he realized that. He told you? No, but I could tell from your body language. I can also tell that you failed, of course. Naruto is much stronger than you. He's much stronger than me, and that's why you were acting like that during training. Angry at your powerlessness. But anger alone won't make you grow, Hanabi. It won't make you stronger. It will only make you a poor shinobi. You need a purpose to that anger. I have a purpose. I will kill Naruto Uzumaki. I know you won't, and you know you won't. You're saying this because it's what you think it is expected of you as Hiyashi's daughter, and because you're trying to somehow fill the void, but you're not that type of person. Fortunately, you took after your mother. Think about what she would have done in this situation. No, I can't forgive him. Maybe not now, but once you accept what Hiyashi was. He was not a bad person. Those are lies. You were probably the only person in the world that had this opinion of him because he hid everything from you. Ask any Hyuga from the branch family, and hell, any Hyuga from the main family, and they'll tell you horrible stories. But just because your father was like that, it doesn't mean you will as well. You just can't lose your way. But he killed my father. He did, and he's also a great person. One day Naruto Uzumaki will prove to you he doesn't deserve any of your hatred. We pick back up with the manga with Sakura, Shikamaru, and Shiho, the Cypher Corps lady, talking about Jiraiya's message, Inoichi's interrogation, and Shizune's autopsy. Those scenes do not change. The following day, Izumo yawned early in the morning. Didn't sleep well? Kotetsu asked. Not really. I don't know why, but my pillow's feeling a little off. Maybe you need a new one. I guess. They were in an advanced post cabin, just outside the Leaf Village. They were assigned on a mission to take checkpoints and resupply ninjas going on missions nearby the village, or other ninjas that were on watch. Iwabe, a member of the Hokage Guard, had joined them a few minutes ago. I need a few additional paper bombs and kunai just in case. I think our squad may have found a place where some smugglers are hiding, Iwabe said. On it, Kotetsu said, sifting through a few wooden crates. A lightning flash brightened the sky, followed up by a thunderclap that rattled the cabin, and heavy rain began to fall on the glass of the cabin window. Huh? That's weird. There were no clouds in the sky like 10 minutes ago, Izumo said, looking out the window. A knock came from the door. It's probably my squadron. I guess they want some shelter, Iwabe said, moving towards the door. As he was about to touch touched the handle, a dark metallic rod broke through the wood and impaled Iwabe through the heart, exiting from his back. Iwabe! Kotetsu screamed, summoning his large blade. Iwabe fell to the ground, dead, and the door shattered in 1,000 wood splinters. The sound of the heavy rain overpowered the room, and the door frame framed a terrifying figure, backlit by lightning and storm. He wore a dark robe with red cloaks, and had strange piercings all over his face. But his eyes, those were far more terrifying. They seemed to glow. Akatsuki! Kotetsu hesitated for a second, but then he dashed, wielding his sword. Izumo! Warn Lady Tsuna! Before he could finish the sentence, the Akatsuki had already stabbed him through the neck with another black rod. Blood gushed out and Kotetsu fell dead on the ground, next to Iwabe. Izumo motioned to run, jumping through the window, but an invisible power grasped his entire body in the air and pulled him towards the Akatsuki. The orange-haired man grasped Izumo by the neck with a frigid hand and lifted him off the ground. You bastard! Once more, Pain didn't allow his enemy to finish the sentence. He squeezed and snapped Izumo's neck. The third body fell lifeless on the ground. Pain turned away from the cabin as heavy rain continued to pelt him. 6 others jumped out, converging on the Deva path. I've cleared up the area and started the rain, he said as the other paths and Konan aligned with him. Now, it is time to deliver pain to the world.
Continue to watch the Rewriting Naruto series by clicking on the video on your screen right now. And if you've gotten this far, this is a 3-hour video. Please leave your like. I'm pretty sure you enjoyed it if you got this far. And don't forget to subscribe and ring notifications so you always receive my videos. Thank you so much for watching.